Okie dokie. Let's see here, folks. We are about to get this show going. Give everybody a second to pop into the chat here. Let me send out the text message. Text message, go. All right, just a reminder, if you want to get on our text message alert system, it's easy. Just text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. That's the word Canary to 877-740-3226. And we'll just send you a little text message before each show, help remind you to tune in live if that's your thing. There's everybody. Okay, we got people coming on YouTube and D Live and Twitch. Let's see, anybody on a Rumble? You alive over there, Rumble? 122 Go 2 over on Twitch. We haven't put a whole lot of energy into that Twitch channel since we fired up the new one, but do not be alarmed. We do stream over there on Twitch every single show. Just search for Canary Cry News Talk. 122 Go 2 Datalorian, Mary, more Ferv, Datalorian again. Hello, Saimi over on D Live. Shylock 7, Daniel, One Liza Petunia. We got the whole gang here. Modern Day Bible Study. Okay, cool. Rumble. Anybody over on Rumble? Rumble's been a little quiet lately. If you wouldn't mind, folks, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button early. Boy, oh boy, does that help us out. Get those likes early on in the stream. Plus, you might be responsible for somebody new tuning in, checking out the show. That would be very cool. Another reminder, you can go to canarycrynewstalk.com. You'll see a green tab on the bottom or the right-hand side. If you click on that, you can leave a voicemail. You can ask questions, give shout-outs, do whatever. You can also leave a short pre-show prayer that we'll play here at the beginning of the streams. I don't think we have one today, so good opportunity for anyone out there if you're looking for a way to spiritually produce the show. That's a good way to do it. Other than that, I think it's time to get going. Okie dokie. Hold on to your butts, everybody. Let's do it.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is August 14th, 2023. We are live to tape on episode 655, and today, Fear the Sphere. And signing on from Off the Grid, you're not crazy, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And my name is Gonz, director of the Age of Deceit Films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, live to tape from California to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events and today's emergent phenomena. 360-degree pendulum ride intensifying.
Oh, boy. Oh, wow. Okay, nice. So emergent. Yes. Well, we're here. It's Monday. Thanks for being here with us. We're excited to jump back in to the good work. But Gonz, I think I'll need to give a disclaimer before this one.
It's time for a disclaimer.
Now listen up, YouTube.
That's right. And just for all the content moderators and censorship managers out there, be they robots or humans, everything you hear on this show comes directly from the mainstream corporate news media. We do not claim to be experts on healthcare, geopolitics, military strategy, corporate law, or the moral and ethical implications of any of these topics, nor do we implicitly or explicitly support or subscribe to any sources or narratives containing misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation, as defined by the Department of Homeland Security. We're good boys. All right, YouTube, we're good boys. That's right. And let me give you a rundown.
Oh, look, here's Basil.
Let me bring you up to speed.
Well, we will be beginning with a checkup about the aliens. Yes, 7-foot tall alien attackers in Peru. More theories have come out. More evidence has revealed itself. And we will be exploring all of these aspects here at the top of the show. And then, of course, we'll be checking back in with the orbs. No, not WorldCoin, but the orbs that possibly teleported MH370 off the face of the planet. We'll see. We'll be the judge of that. Then we'll be checking in with a quick FLIPPY update, perhaps from your childhood. And then for the bulk of the show here, we will be exploring the ins and outs, the twisty-turvy bits of the Maui fire. Theories abound, but so does weird stuff. So we'll be spending some time there. And don't worry, we've got a little checkup on the sort of sociological phenomenon of the eugenics movement. Don't fret, though. Mothers who are negatively affected by having 3 daughters and no sons can make up for it by listening to the podcast. Then at the end of the show, we've got jewels and gems in Israel. More on that later. Gons, let's start with our lead stories.
Go. What is it? A psyop? It's aliens.
Psyops.
Whoa.
You don't know what you're looking at.
What's driving that thing? It's not a space alien.
Aliens. It's unidentified. Aliens. Yep. Aliens. Aliens.
A lot of alien news recently. Do you have
Yeah, it's
alien
great.
burnout?
No, I think it just keeps getting more fun.
Or just the wave just keeps getting bigger? Our surfboards start to make more sense for the size of the wave. It's all coming together.
Yeah. Wow, you've got such a beautiful mind, Gons.
All right, this is from DailyMail.co.uk, and of course we covered the flying 7-foot alien in Peru. Was it last episode or the episode before that?
Yeah,
But
it's been happening.
we have the new headline here: flying 7-foot tall alien attackers in Peru were actually illegal gold mining gang on jetpacks.
And that makes it way more.
Come on, guys.
Oh, just
aliens.
just an illegal gold mining gang on jetpacks. Oh, it's nice to have a simple explanation for things these days.
Yeah. Reports of 7-foot tall aliens terrorizing villagers in Peru stunned the world this week, with local leaders describing the armored and floating menaces as impervious to bullets. The locals also compared their attackers to green goblins. I thought it was Green Goblin, the actual character, and local Peruvian superstitions about los pelacaras, the face peelers. A lot of face peeling conversation going on too, with
Face-based peeling, right?
creatures being found. But now Peruvian law enforcement has offered a new suspect. Illegal gold mining crime syndicates, they said, are to blame. Branches of the steroid drug cartel like Brazil's O Primeiro Comando da Capital, Colombia's Clan del Golfo, FARC, and others who have ravaged Latin America for decades. So apparently the crime syndicate are also very rich, and they also have been investing in some futuristic technologies, if this is to be believed. Peru's National Prosecutor's Office, which is now investigating the alien attacks, has pointed the finger at these gold mafias who've been partially ejected from Brazil and Colombia by their militaries. Now in Peru, these jetpack flying gold cartels hope to inspire fear with their bizarre campaign of alien terror, according to prosecutors, keeping the locals in their homes and away from the cartels' illegal gold pits. Always stuff to do with gold. Interesting. Prosecutors suspect that these illegal mining cartels first used their jetpacks to prospect for gold deeper into the unforgiving jungle surrounding Peru's Nene River. That part made sense to me. I was like, yeah, these guys are gold miners, and they're like, yeah, we have endless resources or endless financing. You know,
I guess.
Jetpack to fly in and check out where we can find more gold.
Helicopters are fine also, but I guess,
too much liability.
If
You
you're
need to be more covert.
if you're on the lam, you're just looking for, fun ways to illegally mine for gold. Jetpacks are one of them.
Yeah, now it shows a series of images here. The Peru's National Prosecutor Office, and then like an overhead shot of Peru's Environmental Prosecutor's Office reports. Okay, and then there shows this girl who's holding a cell phone and a photo of a guy on a jetpack.
Yeah,
Or like a silhouette of a guy on a jetpack.
No, so you keep saying jetpack, and the article keeps saying jetpack. But what they are showing in the pictures and what they're referring to is not quite like the classic cartoon jetpack you wear on your
jetpack, right?
You wear on your back. It's the thing you stand on. You know, we've all seen the YouTube videos, the TikToks, the whatever of guys flying around in jetpacks. I think some guy, or it's kind of like a hoverboard type of device.
Right. Yeah.
I think they flew one over the English Channel or something. We've talked about it before. We used to have a whole Rocket Man segment on this show, specifically tracking rogue jetpack pilots around the world. And we missed this one, apparently. So this is the leading theory here. And, it kind of lines up with the descriptions that we were hearing about how, they would be standing and then some lights would turn on their shoes and then they would fly. They would like hover about a meter off the ground and then run away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it quite explains, the villagers shooting these guys multiple times and not having an effect. But who knows? Maybe they got
missing.
some.
How do they know they're making contact there?
It's very easy to miss. That's the thing. It's very easy to miss.
Yeah, we need laser guns. Equip all of the villagers with laser guns, and then we'll see what's up.
It's really funny because the joke when this story first came out was like, sounds like a Scooby-Doo type of thing.
Right.
The village is terrorized, trying to scare the people, and the aliens are kind of very specifically not camouflaged, but disguised. And that was, any sort of alien enthusiast or investigator or whatever. We pointed out on the show, it's kind of weird. Usually aliens are either grays or Nordics and usually don't wear very many clothes. Usually clothes or fashion is not necessarily their first instinct. So to hear about aliens all armored up with jetpacks and devices was very unusual. Well, turns out it's possibly was because they are a bunch of illegal gold miners. They call them specifically, I lost it in the article. What was it? Artisan. They call it artisan gold mining. Apparently, this ring of illegal gold miners, which apparently is quite popular. Because it says here in the article that the illegal gold mining trade is more profitable than the global drug trade, and the cartels like the illegal gold mining trade because law enforcement is like more focused on the drug trade. Nobody really cares about these criminals, mafiosos, going off into the jungle to mine gold, artisan style, Gons, artisan style.
Oh, they're just misunderstood artisans flying through the air and
dressing up like aliens, scaring the villagers away so they can practice their craft by illegally mining gold in the jungle.
Weren't they accused of scarring people and stuff like that?
Yeah, they were like slashing people apparently. Yeah, it was some cartel activity, but just if you're illegally mining gold in the jungle, you have so much expendable income that you can get jetpacks.
I know, like how are we going to get around this? What do we do next? Jetpacks and scaring the villagers. Yeah, I suppose this is the technocracy coming head to head with your sort of more traditional villages and places that haven't fully immersed in the technocratic takeover and being taken advantage of, I suppose. I mean, that would be true if it was aliens in regardless.
Here's a pretty crazy statistic here. It says these activities being the black and gray market gold trade make up about 1/5 of the total gold production worldwide. Boom, so 20% of all gold mined is being mined illegally by Scooby-Doo style criminals.
Well, and it kind of makes sense now. All the BRICS talk and creating a gold-backed currency. They're like, we better really stock up on the gold. So you get all these nations and And they're like, well, how do we talk to the gold miners? Well, the gold miners are saying, hey, we can't find more gold. We can't just like find gold. Give him the jetpacks, you know? And then boom, he's like, yeah, sweet.
30 to 40 billion dollars all by itself every year. Yeah, that I could dress up like an alien and fly around and jump on a jetpack for 30 to 40 billion bucks.
I mean, some could argue you are doing the same type of behavior, except, you know, for the Lord.
That's true.
So it's kind of
in a way.
Yeah.
In a way.
Turning it all good, you know?
You could describe what I do as dressing up like an alien and flying around and artisanal gold mining in the Amazon. Yeah, interesting. Okay, wow. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's such a crazy theory. Like, it sounds so ludicrous that I'm kind of starting to believe it, honestly.
I mean, it's at this point, it's kind of like, why not? You know, it makes as much sense as anything else, really, at this point. But given the evidence and even the descriptions, yeah, it kind of makes sense that they're just people wearing costumes. And I don't know about the bulletproof thing. I mean, it's pretty simple to have bulletproof vests and stuff. So maybe they have, I mean, unless it was something more dramatic than that. But I'm telling you, we should just arm the citizens with laser guns. We need to up the game.
I have got to give it to dailymail.co.uk. They go so deep into reporting about what is called artisanal gold mining. They go into...
They probably had it on file, just waiting for the day, you know, something.
Oh my gosh.
Miners do something. They're like, boom, drop some knowledge.
Very thorough.
Yeah.
They're talking about the environmental impact and like the mercury these people are using to sift the soil and bacterial microbial processes, converting into super toxic methyl mercury, allowing it to persist. And they're killing the jungle with their gold mining guns and scaring away the natives. That is, now, if we take this concept and we just transpose it onto, you know, more classic Western style alien encounters. Who knows? Maybe all the Greys who are abducting people, maybe they're just, you know, maybe they're not mining gold. Maybe they're looking for cobalt or maybe, you know, some lithium for Elon's factories or something. And they're just trying to scare away all the Midwest farmers off of their cobalt-rich wheat fields. I don't know. I'm just follow the money, gone.
Well, at the very end of this Daily Mail article, it says that over the past weekend, Peruvian Navy fighters faced fire with illegal miners near the Pucarco and Alvarenga communities, RPP reports, where they succeeded in destroying oil drums, a gold pit water suction system, and other equipment used by the criminal gold miners. But no jetpacks were reported as recovered from those weekend raids. That's because the Peruvian Navy were like, oh, we found him. Let's go. They put him on and they took off.
Yeah, well, you're not going to catch the guys with the jetpacks. They're not going to.
I know, it's in some underground secret cave.
Oh, they flew away the second the Navy showed up there. They're like, bye. Anyway. Yeah. Okay. Well, you know, honestly, I hate to say it, but it's starting to make quite a bit of sense to me.
So gold miners, aliens. And by the way,
artisan gold miners.
And by the way, of course, the book of Revelation talks about the merchants of the earth becoming wealthy from selling precious metals such as gold out of Jerusalem. So, you know, I wonder how much of the illegal gold trade will contribute to the end times gold supply of end times eschatological Jerusalem mystery Babylon.
I'm sure it'll be more than we would expect.
All right.
There's more going on, Gons.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are.
Thanks, Obama. This is
continuing our top of the show, filled with British rag papers. Since coming from mirror.co.uk. Flying orbs, filmed spinning around plane, quote, shows proof of teleportation and MH370 theory.
It's back.
Yeah. We'll hear more about this in the article, but for those who need some reminding, MH370 was that Malaysian airline flight that disappeared out of nowhere back in 2014. Lots of, of course, spurred lots of theories. It was one of those
turning on their machine, things like that. Yeah.
Disappearing plane theories. Gotta love them. And some footage came out recently, saw it flying all around, that is not new. It is old footage. I've seen this footage at least a couple of years ago, but it has really hit the internet hard over this past weekend. And let's see what they have to say about it. Footage said to be from a satellite of bizarre orbs floating around a plane in the sky has conspiracy theorists convinced of what happened to missing flight MH370. By the way, one of the things I love most about Gen Z is they are starting to really get hooked on their own, set of conspiracy theories. Gen Z has taken to the MH370, theories with more passion than I think
they were coming of age
kind of,
when it all happened. They were teenagers or something, and people are talking about it, and a plane disappeared. It's like they're living out all the TV shows.
They are obsessed with it. I'm happy that they got something to do with their time. The Malaysia Airlines flight vanished in March 2014 after taking off from Kuala Lumpur Airport bound for Beijing. It lost contact with air traffic control 40 minutes after takeoff over the South China Sea and disappeared from radar. Extensive search and rescue missions were deployed, but none of the 239 people on board were ever found, becoming one of the biggest mysteries of all time.
Dun, 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 dun,
it's an all-time mystery.
Woo!
Now, satellite video has people seemingly blaming an extraterrestrial cause, with one person suggesting orbs flying around a plane is proof MH370 may have been teleported. In the leaked, quote-unquote, leaked footage, a plane is seen coming into view by a huge cloud on the left, the DailyMail reports. As it continues its flight path, a small orb appears from the right and zooms past the craft before going up close near the wings. Soon, it is joined by two more orbs, and the trio move in circular motion around the entire plane. When the plane approaches the cloud, a strong flash strikes. The plane, along with the three orbs, disappear in the sky. While some people said the video was fake and created using CGI and 3D animation, others disagreed and analyzed the footage in detail. Adding credence to the theory is an article from 2014 from ABC News, which reported, quote, 3 large objects spotted near Malaysian airliner flight path. Now, that part I had forgotten about, but it's true. I went back, found the ABC article there. It does mention 3 large objects spotted near Malaysian airliner flight path, which makes this a sort of extra compelling piece of footage here. It goes on. It shared blurry images taken by Chinese satellites of 3 unidentified objects in the waters between Malaysia and Vietnam. One person said, OMG. This has just been confirmed to be a real satellite video leak. Reddit is going insane right now. I'm shocked, actually. Another said, quote, the clouds actually move. And it's not, they're just, Reddit talking back and forth there. Another expressed, this does not confirm it is a real satellite or real footage. We know now it's stereoscopic and would be difficult to render at the time of release, which gives more credibility to the footage. But let's not be hyperbolic. Somebody finally bring in some sanity to the conversation over there on Reddit. Earlier this year, it was reported the doomed flight could have crashed in a completely different location, blah, blah, blah. But this is a pretty compelling video. Again, this video I've seen at least a couple years back, but for some reason is really gaining some traction right now. Oh, and if you are just listening and have not seen the video, it's very compelling. You see a plane, and look, it does not have, I don't know, what do you call it, but many of the classic hallmarks of CGI. Like when you watch it, it's very believable when you watch it.
Yeah, well, you can see that it's a recording of a screen of some kind because you can see some mouse clicks and stuff, and that's interesting in itself.
Which does help hide the
so if
fact
you
something
had a
is fake.
CGI, if you created some CGI footage and then you took your phone out and you were recording that footage on a computer screen from your phone, then it might seem more real than I don't know. You can kind of fool the viewer, I guess, but I don't know.
I did see another version of the video going around where they did a side by side of like one of them was like a thermal vision type of thing, which is, I don't know, it could be fake, I guess, but people have spent a lot of time analyzing this video, and it's fun. It's a fun one, not quite as fun as artisan gold miners Scooby doing some Peruvian villagers, but very compelling.
Yeah, well, let's hear some mainstream analysis of this. Let's just get over all the craziness. Let's fact check this. This is Newsweek.com. Fact check. Do videos show MH370 Boeing teleported away by UFOs? Well, tell me, Newsweek. A demand for answers surrounding the disappearance of Malaysia. Yes, we know about the flight. Let's get to the chase here. A Reddit post talks about the Reddit post sent on August 7th, 2023 on the subreddit UFOs, which received 4,900 upvotes, included what looked like ultraviolet footage of a plane encircled by 3 moving dots. It was followed by another clip appearing to show the same phenomena. I think this is where you're talking about some of the footage that was inverted or whatever. And it goes on here. Reddit user Volcaro, who uploaded the video, suggested, quote, someone here might have information about when this was taken and where. A number of the comments underneath the video suggested it could be linked to Malaysia airline flight MH370. A post on X, formerly Twitter, posted yada, 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 the same stuff. Okay, despite some speculation that the footage is of the missing Malaysian airline flight, the video was debunked several months ago. Oh, thanks.
Ooh, debunked.
It was debunked. Fact checkers at France 24's Observers team in March investigated the film.
State-owned. State-owned French media debunked it. That's great.
Which appeared in a TikTok that repeated the same allegations. Oh, TikTok. Observers found that the original footage was linked to a video from May 2014 that made no mention of MH370, only airliner and UFOs, end quote. Speaking to video analysis experts, it found that later uploads of the video began describing it as a simulation of, quote, what the disappearance of Malaysia airline flight MH370 may have looked like, end quote. One editing expert said the video was, quote, likely a graphic creation, end quote. An analysis by Hoax Eye, included in the same article, also noted that the second part of the footage could be traced to a military-style NROL-77, which wasn't launched until after the disappearance of MH370. Therefore, it couldn't have been that. Although debunked. Although, they couldn't have had this thing before it was announced or launched publicly.
Yeah.
It points out the call sign of the craft in the bottom left of the video, which can be partially seen in the footage posted on Reddit. Even subsequent attempts to share the video as proof of UFO interference with MH370 have included the same call sign information. Our ruling, false. The video is not footage of Malaysia airline flight MH370. It was posted online in 2014 as a UFO, an airliner. Nothing to do with MH370.
Well, that's what I love about it. They're not even saying that it's fake. They're like, no.
Like, no.
This is not 3 alien orbs teleporting MH370.
Right, no mention of
I mean, it's 3 alien orbs teleporting some plane, but don't let those conspiracy theorists lead you astray.
Maybe it's
This is a totally innocent other plane getting teleported out of existence.
Or if it's a technicality, after it's captured in their hands, it's no longer MH370. It's coded something else, and
they renamed it.
Yeah, they renamed it. So it's like, no, it's not MH370. No proof of that.
It is an extremely believable video. If it is fake, somebody did an extremely good job. But it seems like, as we just witnessed, all the debunking of the video, nobody is really making the case that it's a fake video. They're just saying, yeah, it's of a different plane. Okay, stop
Different
asking
plane.
questions.
Yeah, come on. Hey, yeah. Well, there you go. We got the MH370, or at least footage of UFOs, is continuing to hit us again in the mainstream, and also 7-foot tall alien gold mining. Man, what is going on? What is this? It's only Monday?
Gary,
I don't know.
what day is it? Monday.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Gary, what day is it? Monday.
Starting to get fun, guys. At least we're starting the week off with some fun stuff. It was a weird weekend for events. Not a whole lot of things happening, or at least not a whole lot of new things happening. Just updates on everything. The only thing that sort of dominated the news space was the Maui fire. Yeah. And of course, we'll be doing plenty of talking about the Maui fire. But before that, Gons, did you do anything fun this weekend?
No. I did actually go. I went to a restaurant named Gonzo.
Oh.
It's a Japanese restaurant. Yeah. And I covertly ate their food. And I did not tell
Interesting. So
my name.
it was a Japanese restaurant. Is Gonzo a Japanese name?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever put that together.
Oh,
that
good.
is great to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
I thought your parents were just big, like I don't know, Hunter S. Thompson fans or something.
Oh, I mean, there's a possibility. Someone was whispering into their ear. They did come here in 1976 is when they arrived. So
perfect.
Who
timing.
knows who
Yeah.
handled my parents there?
Yeah.
So that was fun. They have stickers and everything. At some point, I'm just like, I'm just gonna buy their stuff and just use it for my own thing. Just hey.
Yeah.
Thanks for being cool.
Steal their branding.
Yeah, you'll not steal. I'll facilitate. I'll tell them it's a restaurant. But
fair use.
Yeah,
fair use
fair
of their
use.
branding.
Yeah. Value for value, eat some good ramen. It's a ramen place. So that's what really did it for me. It's like, okay,
gotta love the ramen.
We're hitting the nostalgia pretty hard there for me. So there you go.
It's so funny. Mm-hmm. When I was in college, I had a roommate and he's like, ramen, man, you got to have ramen. And this was kind of before the ramen thing really took off on the West Coast. Yeah. He's like, you got to have ramen. I'm like, oh, interesting. Never heard of it. What is it? He's like, it's soup. I'm like, why are you so excited about soup? What is it? And he was kind of an anime aficionado.
Sure.
He's that type of fella, kind of I don't know, someone might say a nerdy kind of fella, but he was he appreciated the cultural input from Japan. A big fan. And so I was just like, yeah, it's soup. It's good soup. I love the soup. It's great soup. Come eat soup with me. I'm like, soup is not real food, but I guess I will go with you. I'm also broke. I don't know if I can pay $16 for soup, but okay.
Yeah.
And didn't really get it. Did not really understand the hype when I was in college. Could have been the place. I don't know. But I will say, now in my old age, Gons, and with my brittle bones and my sensitive teeth, a good ramen soup really hits the
spot.
You
got to have the right stuff in there too. You got to have like the egg that kind of cooks in there, so it's
got to have the egg right. Yeah, that's the number one thing.
Yeah,
that is the number one thing that people get wrong is they will just throw a hard-boiled egg in there.
Yeah, no, you can't do it.
It's not pickled, it's not soft-boiled or whatever.
It's got to have that sort of a gooey middle in there, so that when it mixes in, then that's when the soup is like delicious. So there you go.
The soup is like delicious.
Soup
folks.
is like delicious.
I usually go with the black garlic variety if anybody is needing a ramen, ramen advice. Get the black garlic.
Excellent.
Okay. Well, with that, Gons, if we're ever going to eat ramen again, we should thank some executive producers.
Executive producers.
Yeah, folks, we're on the value for value model. No money coming to us from crazy corporations, creepy commies, or Peruvian illegal gold mining cartels. Although apparently, if those gold mining cartels, they could really take us to the next level if they decided to produce the show.
Oh, man.
But so far, no luck. But No fear, people. This show is kept alive by producers just like you. They're people who get value from the show, and they realize that there's a paradigm shift going on in the world today. No, not the ones about aliens. No, not the ones about, global liberalism. No, not the ones about global authoritarian rule, although those are also paradigm shifts happening in the minds of men as we speak. But the value for value model is another one, and that is the paradigm that it is not, we should not, we have been trained for so long that corporations are the gatekeepers of media and media's existence. It doesn't matter if a show or anything is bringing value to people's personal lives. As long as it's creating value for corporations, they will have that zombie program running for years and years and years. But not here, folks. This show would not exist if not for the value that producers put in. So wherever you are in the world, consider, does Canary Cry News Talk bring any value to your life? Think about it, pray about it, and consider putting some value back in. You can do it with your time, your talent, or your treasure. Lots of ways to get involved with the show. But we like to thank the executive producers here at the top because they come in for $100 or more on any individual episode, and that's why we are so grateful to them. Gons, we did not have any executive producers up until the very last second. Wow. So we have a knight shining armor. Are you ready to thank them for everything they do for us?
Yes, and please, we will not accept it if you are a gold miner, illegal gold miner.
Well, speak for yourself. I'm not sure about that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't need to know where you get your gold. That's not my business.
I don't want to be the middleman of a laundering operation, is all I'm saying.
I don't know. Middleman, that's a good business. People make a good living being middlemen. Just ask Germany. Wow, that was way too deep of a cut for that joke to land with anybody. I just do want to say, I promise it's not a Nazi joke. Okay, everybody, everybody join with me in thanking our one glorious executive producer for this episode, and that is executive producer Felicia D.
Felicia D, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Felicia D. Felicia D's got such a great mandate for keeping this show alive. Felicia D keeps an eye out on the emails or whatever and just keep making sure that we're going to survive for the episode. And if it happens to be that we don't have an executive producer for any individual show, Felicia D is usually the first person to come in and save the day. So thank you very much, Felicia D.
Thank you.
Where'd you find this?
It's a nice round number. We're keeping that undisclosed and no note, no nothing, but we really appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Other than that, I say up here at the top, let's just mention Canary Cry meetups. What do you say?
Ooh, that's a curveball.
Yeah, curveball, baby. Keeping Gons on his toes over there.
Canary Cry Meetups.
Yeah, go check out canarycrymeetups.com. Canarycrymeetups.com. You can see a list of currently scheduled Canary Cry meetups, which is an excellent way to improve your life. Why? Well, as I mentioned at the top of the show, you're not crazy. And a great way to prove that is by meeting up with other people who are not crazy. You know, listening to the same podcast as somebody is a great indicator for if you're going to get along or not. You'll have lots to talk about. You'll have lots of theories to express. You can go into some deep Canary Cry lore. These meetups are so fun. And we've got a few coming up. On September 2nd, I'm seeing here, we have the Eastern North Carolina meetup. If anybody over there in North Carolina, Crystal Coast on Labor Day weekend, we've got contact information here. You're going to be contacting Nancy, whose email is so small on the screen that I can't quite see it. Nancy Flynn with 2 N's, 001. Nancy Flynn 001 at AOL.com is how you RSVP to that. You can see that information over at canarycrimemeetups.com. We've also got the Reno, Nevada meetup on September 9th at Roller Kingdom. Woo! That's right, 3 p.m. Saturday, September 9th. Join the Canarians. So
howdy, partner. Do you even
the Church of Skaten. That's right. They will be praying against the dark powers that meet in roller skating rinks across the country. There is, I'm not going to speak too much on it, but there is a universe in which I will be around that area of the world. That's sort of, I think that's like directly after Burning Man there in Reno. So I'm not going to put too much out on that yet until I have plans, but that promises to be a cool meetup if you are, I don't know, within striking distance of Reno, Nevada. On October 14th, we have the Camden, Tennessee meetup. Slave to Servant Canary Crime meetup on October 14th in Camden, Tennessee. You can contact slave to TWO servant at gmail.com to RSVP, get more information for that. There you go. Go check them out. And in fact, we actually have some new flyers created by, I believe, Sir Dove or so. Yeah, it must have been Sir Dove that we'll be putting up there at canarycrimemeetups.com. So go check it out, folks. If there's not a meetup near you, just put it on yourself. I know we've got a couple of pending meetups. People have emailed us. So just pull the trigger, pick a time, pick a place. And if you are, you know, in or near a mid-size American municipality, you have a chock-a-block of Canarians in your area. It's just a matter of luring them out of their cages. So go check it out, canarycrimemeetups.com. And email us at canarycryradio@gmail.com if you want to put one on yourself. I highly recommend it.
This is fun.
Okie dokie. What do you say? How do you feel about a Flippy update?
I feel great.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
All right, folks, it's time for the Flippy update. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore the new fun and exciting ways robots are taking over the world. I know there's nothing we can do about it. Today, we're doing sort of a Flippy update light, okay? So sit back, relax, and enjoy a little bit of nostalgia as we check out this report from the BBC regarding the headline, Man Builds Johnny 5 Robot from Short Circuit Film. Roll that beautiful beat footage.
Phenomenal. We've had people crying in front of him. We've had people who are just tearing up as he goes by doing that.
Recognise this, robots? Yep, you guessed it. This is Johnny 5 from the 1986 film Short Circuit. Believe it or not, this is actually a replica.
I've never done anything like this before. We are really, really normal people until this happened, and we had no intention of doing all these amazing things. He was just going to be a robot in the corner of my room.
Ryan Howard spent time building the robot during the pandemic.
I had to find an escape, so I disappeared into my garage and I just taught myself how to machine, and that's what I spent the pandemic doing. And I came out the other side with a standing Johnny 5 and went from there. I stopped counting at about £20,000. It's been a really good thing for us, and we'll get to meet lots of amazing people and do lots of amazing things.
It took 6 years to build Johnny 5.
I did as much as I could myself, so we didn't have to pay other people to do it. We've missed many family holidays making Johnny 5, I can tell you that.
Johnny.
To my knowledge, this is the only one that's fully working at this moment. I'm very proud of it. It's an incredibly difficult thing to do. If anything, the fact it was so difficult makes me even more happy that he exists and he lives with me.
He lives with them.
Lives with them. Okay. So this is it's a normal sort of charming Joe Schmo type over there in the UK who apparently, now I don't know how this math works out.
Yeah, I was going to point that out.
Spent the pandemic
learning the robot
in his garage, building the robot. And hey, we all picked up new hobbies during lockdowns. I get it. That's kind of a cool story. But he says it took over 6 years for him to build it. So unless they're measuring time differently over there in the UK, something isn't quite adding up. It looks like he had been working on this robot for quite a while before the pandemic, 3 years at least. Now, here's the thing. When we talk about the FLIPPY update, it's not just about, what's the cool new robot that's going to take our jobs, enslave our children, flirt with our spouses? What are the technological advances that are coming to bring on the future technocratic utopia that will enslave all humans for the lifeblood of robots? It's not just that. It is very much that, but it's not just that. There's also sort of the psychosocial aspect, because we are at a turning point, people. We are at the turning point, and people know it. Of course, I've been screaming about it for years, but it's become mainstream to talk about the fact that we are on the precipice of sort of the robotic age of human history, whether that is through AI, whether that's through mechanization, automation, in the not just manufacturing industry, every industry. We got flippy baristas, burger flipping robots, caretaking robots, taking care of our elderly, all sorts of things. And I thought it was interesting. It was about time that a robot was presented in a way that was disconnected from the sort of elite tech source, I guess. Because every time a new robot comes out and everybody's freaking out, you got Spot with a machine gun on his back, you've got robotic security guards roaming around a school, you've got all these crazy things. It's all very much blatantly, hey, we are in a technocracy. The robots will save us. We've got unsolvable problems. So let's hand over the reins to our mechanical brothers. And that's one thing. And it's having a very, I don't know, quite the effect on the public, both the pro and con. But there was something about just a guy going into his garage, not to just build any robot, but to recreate the nostalgia of arguably one of the most famous robots in pop culture, Johnny Five.
I loved this movie as a child. I loved it.
Gons was tearing up before the show, folks. He was having a serious emotional reaction.
I wasn't tearing up. However, when I was a child, I loved this movie. There's a part 2 as well. I loved both of them. And I did break a mini chopstick to create little tiny Johnny number 5s.
Yeah.
Out of chopstick. They're the perfect little things. Yeah. So, yes, it did hit me, but I don't know. Yeah. The math killed it for me. The guy's math, the working on
the
it
math
for 6
doesn't
years.
make any sense.
That snapped me out of the nostalgic hypnosis there. I was like, wait a minute. Unless this guy's a time traveler.
You kind of have to, because it is, I mean, that hypnosis is exactly sort of the purpose. Now, of course, this is kind of a puff piece. It's just kind of out there, and nobody's really thinking about the deeper, more sinister messages being transmitted to the normal, the normal BBC viewer or whatever, which is, hey, look, there's been a lot of talk about robots taking over the world, a lot of talk about AI, teaching your children how to build pipe bombs in your basement. There's a lot of talk about these sorts of things. But look, robots don't have to be threatening. There can just be a robot from your childhood. Short Circuit came out in 1986, which was a little bit before my time, but right in the zone for you, Gons.
Yeah, it was 3. And I didn't really see it till a few years later. I think it was probably 1990-ish when I was all about it. But yeah, Stephanie.
Of course. Yeah, I've never actually seen it, so your references are going to fall pretty flat with me. But I trust that there's another Johnny 5 fan out there
Here's
who's
the thing.
Really connecting with what you're saying.
At I can't remember if it was the end of the first one or the second one. Johnny he gets all beat up, right? But then everything comes together and he's celebrated, and he comes out and he's pure gold. He's got the pure gold body. And I had not thought of the eschatology of that, of the transhuman ascension of like, oh, he's going to be, or like a savior figure where it's like, oh, he went down, but he came back and now he's pure gold.
He's reborn.
As the gold. That's why the illegal gold miners, man, they really need a lot of illegal gold to make.
It's all coming together. All coming together. Yeah. Well, and there's some interesting, like I said, sort of psychosocial messaging here, connecting it to the pandemic, a very traumatic experience for a lot of people. You've got some trauma bonding with this guy going on.
Trauma bonding. I like that.
Usually people, they're going in their garage to escape the kids or whatever. They're working on a car, they're rebuilding a, 67 Chevy or something. But no, this guy is building a robot from scratch, spending $20,000 or more. He said he stopped counting at 20 grand. Yeah, which is, cheap for a robot, but more
for a hobby,
more money than I can imagine. Yeah. But there was this big push in the piece about, hey, we're normal people. We did this to escape the pandemic. It was a really good thing for us. We're meeting people, we're having fun. This robot is improving our lives, not just, purchasing a robot from Elon, making our lives more convenient. No, devoting the amount of devotion to this robot. And how the devotion to the robot has brought so many good things to their life is pretty strong sort of psychological messaging, as far as people who might not even realize that they're having to process the idea of robots, becoming more powerful, being more prominent in our society. But if you can connect it with a very nostalgic movie from your childhood. It doesn't, the robot doesn't represent, a tech billionaire, being created in a lab in Silicon Valley, whose sole purpose is to make $1 billion and extract, wealth from the lower classes to send up to the billionaire. If you can disconnect robotics from that whole concept, no, this is just a normal guy, apparently missing holidays with his family to build a robot. The sacrifices that this guy.
That was making. Man, you really, okay, whatever. It sounded like he only worked on it on his time off, after the pandemic.
No, this is the most important thing in this man's life.
Paid off. Apparently, he got a BBC puff piece done.
Oh yeah, apparently he's got a career now, taking that robot to conferences or whatever, Comic-Con. I'm sorry, can you hear that dog barking?
Oh yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, yappy.
I will figure out a way to do something about that. Where was I? Okay, yeah. So you get it. This is an emotional piece. It's much different from a lot of presentations about robots that we've seen recently, and I think it's very effective. It's very effective in opening up people to the ideas of robots, because it's not representing the sort of Terminator style. What's the other one? I don't know. I can't remember. Yeah, Matrix, Blade Runner, these types of things. Yeah. It's Johnny 5, lovable robot. This is sort of a lovable kind of normal guy, did it for sort of lovable normal reasons. It changed his life in a lovable way. It's just pure positivity. And I don't know. I could see more and more of these types. I don't know how you teach yourself. I mean, I guess you take 6 years and over $20,000 to do it is how you do it. But I mean, it is an extremely elaborate robot. This is not, some R2D2 trash can that somebody put wheels, on a whatever and having some fun. This is a really, they've got the facial movements. Johnny Five has very specific sort of complex facial movements to express emotion, stuff like that.
Eye color
he really
change
went
when he
for
gets
it.
mad and stuff like that. Yep.
Yeah. This guy really went for it. And I think it's going to be very effective. And this is the type of psychological operation, folks, that we got to keep an eye out for. Don't let them confuse you, because, yes, they may present you with the story of a lovable folk tale of a man and his robot. But when it comes down to it, it's all preparing you for the inevitable robot takeover.
Well done. All right.
There you go. That's your Flippy update for the day, folks.
Move on.
Time to move on.
And you shall hear wars and rumors of wars.
Lasers. Come, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Well, a lot of footage, a lot of conversations, a lot of theories, a lot of research being done on the Maui fires. And
yes,
we'll just kind of do as quick as possible, a run through of some of the ideas, some of the information. We have all the links in the show notes for people to do their own digging, doing some researching of some other researchers out there as well. But let's start here with the New York Post reporting headline: only 2 of estimated 96 victims of Maui fires ID'd so far, with bodies so damaged, quote, they fall apart. Yikes. I mean, that sounds horrific.
Yeah, yikes.
Maui County officials said nearly a week after the island was decimated by the raging blaze, just 2 victims have been properly identified and only 3% of the area has been surveyed so far. Quote, there will be active recovery in the days and weeks of the bones and remains of those we lost. That's Hawaii Governor Josh Green. It's going to take many years to rebuild Lahaina. Maui police officer John Pelletier is urging survivors of the fires with missing loved ones to provide DNA samples to help the already difficult mission of identifying the dead. Quote, we need you to do the DNA test. We need to identify your loved ones, Pelletier said.
That is a weird way to say that.
Yeah,
that is a weird way to present that idea.
Well, it's weird also because of the guy saying it. There is and this is a communal type of research. There is a trail of the guy going back many years and very suspicious. Now, real quickly, we go straight to the MauiCounty.gov website. John Pelletier, there he is, police department chief of police. So he's definitely on staff there. I also had my LinkedIn just showing his profile. So there's that. Also, what's interesting, some of the history reporting of this guy. This is KNPR.org, Nevada Public Radio, published on June 15th of 2017. And the headline, Metro Captain Life moves on, but not easily after using deadly force. Okay, so John Pelletier was a police officer in Las Vegas for 20 years. And back in June of 2017, or around that time, maybe it was a little earlier. Oh, that was reported in June of 2017 that he used deadly force in a shooting and killed the man.
Oh, yeah. An on-the-job shooting.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's not super common.
No. So after the shooting, he was part of what was then called the coroner's inquest, a quasi-legal proceeding where a county prosecutor questions witnesses, including the officer involved, to determine if the shooting was justified or not. Inquests were open to the public and held in the Clark County Courthouse, and they were fraught with tension as both family members of the deceased and friends of the officer were all packed into a small courtroom. Pelletier's shooting was deemed justified. So that was back then, 2017. So a man on the job, a police officer on the job who has used deadly force and killed a man. That's John Pelletier. Okay. A few months later, in Las Vegas, one of the craziest sort of mass shootings that we've had in this country. It was the Las Vegas massacre, October 1st of 2017, when how many people were? I can't remember how many people got shot at the concert there.
58, I believe.
58. Yeah. So what's interesting is that we know John Pelletier was a police officer at that time in Las Vegas, but as far as I can tell, and I tried to dig a little bit, did some Google searches, some timed based Google searches from the past and stuff like that. And there isn't, or I couldn't find any articles quoting John Pelletier on the Las Vegas shooting. So just kind of interesting, considering he's kind of in the news. And as we'll see, he does get brought into the news and interviewed and stuff like that as time goes on. So, but he was an officer during that shooting. So, if you see memes,
was he just an officer, or
he might have been a little bit higher up?
Have some sort of leadership role?
I think he might have had some level of leadership. I don't know for sure during exactly 2017, especially since it was after all this stuff going on with the justified shooting thing. So, but I do believe he was undercover in that time. And also, real quick, and the LinkedIn does say that he went to FBI University. Just a side note.
Is that a real place?
I don't know. It's in the LinkedIn.
Okay.
Okay. So no records of any articles of him saying anything about.
Real quick. He was an incident commander for the 2017 mass shooting.
There you go.
Incident commander.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Police captain. Yeah. He was a police captain. Oh, wait. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So a month later, after the mass shooting, and again, I don't know why he's not, I couldn't find anything from him concerning the mass shooting. Maybe they wiped it. Who knows? ABC News, November 29th, 2017. So this is like almost 2 months after the massacre in Las Vegas. Headline, gunman on the run after robbing Las Vegas casino poker room. And there's a video clip here of the report from ABC News at the time.
First look at the man police are trying to find, and take a look. They say he was wearing a wig and glasses, and his face was partially covered when he robbed a cashier at the famed Bellagio's poker cage. They say they're confident they'll make an arrest soon.
There was video. There was a lot of things that were done to help us feel comfortable and confident, and that those that would commit crimes like this on the Strip will be hunted down.
Yeah, so he's going to hunt him down. The report, actually, the whole story, if you read it, they never found the guy. The report is they're confident they're going to find the guy. And then there's no other reporting following up as to what happened to this bandit or robber. So yeah, kind of interesting, but there he is in the news at the very least. And then over the next couple of years, he was highlighted in places like Review Journal. That's the Las Vegas Review Journal headline: disguised fentanyl pills fuels soaring death toll in Las Vegas. And here's John Pelletier at the podium talking about fentanyl.
What's even more shocking is we had just under a 200% increase in fentanyl-related deaths. Every single one of these did not have to happen. One bad pill will kill.
You should tell that to Mr. Joe Biden there.
I've ordered more pills than anyone in the world.
I wonder if John's having a conversation with old chief there. And then Las Vegas Review Journal headline: Las Vegas police captain named police chief in Maui. This was 2021, I believe. And and this is a report, documenting the fact.
Las Vegas police captain will be the new chief of the Maui Police Department. Captain John Pelletier is a 22-year veteran of the Metro Police Department. Friday, he told the commission he's bringing his experience in tourist and community-based policing coming from Las Vegas.
But I don't think it was going too great, because the Maui News reported back in September of 2022, so about a year ago, commission declines to discipline police chief. So apparently people were complaining about the negative working conditions under John Pelletier, but the commission decided to not move forward with any kind of discipline. Maybe he's protected, So that's the guy. That's the guy. That's the guy going, give us your DNA to find your lost loved ones. That's him.
Yeah. It's like you see that I forget the details, but it's like the gal who was in 2 school shootings.
Right.
Like there was one school shooting where she was, then she moved, and there was another one there. 2 famous ones. I forget the exact
too.
details, but when stuff lines up like that, it's just very suspicious.
Yeah. Well, that's one anomaly with this whole story about the Maui thing. That's just one thread that people are talking about. It's this John Pelletier guy, his history in Las Vegas and all that.
And the DNA, DNA collection thing is weird.
It's weird,
Like,
right? That's sort of the cherry on top. Like, okay, that's the guy asking for everyone's DNA.
The way that he's saying it, too, is like, did nobody give him coaching? He sounds like he is asking for your DNA. Least. Yeah, at least sounds like a jerk, but like honestly sounds like he's hiding something. Like, you need to give us your DNA. You need to come in. You need to give us your biological samples. It's just very important. And considering some of the weirder things floating around this whole event, you add a DNA collection aspect to it, and it has a really broad sort of icky feeling to it. Let's see what else you got.
He's peddling the fentanyl thing. He must have done all the right things to be stationed for this. It's just weird, man. Some of these guys, it doesn't make any sense other than placed there, or at least used as some kind of source or mole. Who knows? So, okay, let's move on to some other things.
It's like, again, we're going to get into like some bigger theories about the thing, but for really any big plan to come together, you have to have a man in law enforcement. You got to have a guy on the inside. I mean, that's like rule number one for perpetrating some op in a location, is you gotta have law enforcement on the payroll or whatever, or at least have overlapping incentives with law enforcement.
So another thread that's been discussed quite a bit online as a response to the Maui fire is the sentiment that the area that was burned down was some kind of royal land, or it was the capital of Maui, the kingdom of Maui or Hawaii, and the people that own some of the properties there aren't willing to sell to BlackRock and Vanguard and Oprah. Her name keeps getting brought up for some specific reasons. Can you give us a quick rundown of what that theory is, basically? That just
it's kind of your basic sort of billionaire wants island
class warfare type thing.
Class warfare. Natives won't sell. So Oprah has purchased something like close to like 300 to 500 acres of the island, which if you would have asked me before this, how many acres is the island of Maui, I probably would have guessed 500 acres, but I guess it's much bigger. So just huge swaths of land on the island, as well as a number of other billionaires, and they just keep buying. They just keep buying. And the classic story of people who have been on the island for generations, perhaps all of their generations, not wanting to sell to Oprah or BlackRock or Vanguard or any number of these obviously, if not, evil entities, they are at least counter incentivized to use the land for what the natives would prefer. I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, in Hawaii, on the islands, it's like some serious class warfare between
serious.
Yeah,
I've told you about
between
my
the
story,
locals.
Right?
I don't recall.
Oh, really?
Why don't you tell me about it?
I went surfing with a friend of mine who's Irish. He was an Irish guy, but he loves surfing. We're out there. We're out in on North Shore on Oahu with I'm on my longboard. He's on a shortboard. Shortboards, you're kind of already drawing attention from locals if you're walking around with a shortboard in Hawaii. So we're out there, and he kind of he didn't cut anybody off, but it was sort of, he was getting kind of close to some people. And these islanders, it was clearly those guys, the local guys, looked at me and said, "These foreigners, the white man," and they kind of did like the disapproval shake, and I was like, "It's my friend, Steve over there." But sure, yeah, the white man's taking over, huh? It's just horrible with the shortboards. So if I experienced that, like 20 years ago in the waters, I can only imagine what's going on with real estate.
Right.
With Oprah owning over 1,000 acres, is it, or more now?
I think it's in the hundreds. I'm
looking at an article now that says she has more than 1,000.
Well, I believe it. Yeah, it's crazy. It's
already
and there's
owned
a number
more than 1,000. So she bought 870 according to this story. So anyway, I mean, she's buying it all up.
And she's not the only one. There's a number of billionaires doing the same thing, and I'm seeing. Haven't had the opportunity to go back and fully confirm all the details on this. But, there's recent legislation over in Hawaii that are lining up with sort of the smart city, WEF technocratic thing. I'm over here on Hitachi what is it? It's some website being run by Hitachi. It's Hitachi branded, but it's talking about the new smart grid in Hawaii. Jump Smart Maui project is what it's called. So apparently, allegedly, there are claims that this legislation has just recently passed, and of course the locals are not very stoked about that. It's a whole thing. And so, of course, there are theories floating around that this is a great way to either scare off people who wouldn't sell or to devalue the land, perhaps even clear the land for redevelopment. And it's even weirder. I don't know if we have any of these clips ready, but there's apparently Oprah showed up just immediately for some photo
just happened
ops.
To be there.
It's just like the next day she's there. She's going to the FEMA camps or the what are they called? I don't know, refugee camps or whatever. And she's fluffed. There's a video of her just like literally fluffing this guy's pillow and putting it behind his head at this shelter. And she's walking around, getting filmed, just sort of puttering around this shelter, getting some good PR, getting the shots. She was actually denied access to at least one shelter because they're like, you can't bring cameras in here. What are you talking about? And it's just very much got that skeezy feel. And with the sort of smart city legislation, they were going to need to clear out a bunch of the land anyways. And now it'll be going for a nickel. Now, a lot of this, of course, is simply theories that are floating around, but it's things aren't not lining up for this.
Well, in response to some of what you said there's a PolitiFact article. Of course, PolitiFact, fact checking here. Maui fires are part of an intentional effort to rebuild the island into a smart city. And they go through all this stuff here. Let me just cut to the chase because it's pretty funny. At the very end, they cite how there was, conferences and stuff earlier this year that weren't about smart cities, but certainly smart cities were discussed, as any, conference thinking about the future would discuss smart cities. And at the very end here, our ruling, an Instagram video claims that fires in Hawaii may have been intentionally set to make way to turn Maui into a smart island. As evidence, the video cites a smart city conference in January. Smart cities is a concept that suggests using technology to enhance government services and residents' lives. It wouldn't require the destruction of a city to enact. The concept of smart cities was among many topics researchers broached at a January conference in Maui, but the research was not specific to Maui. Although an official cause of the fire has yet to be determined, officials have not said foul play is suspected. We rate this claim false. So no. They didn't destroy it to build a smart island. We were already going to do that anyway. So it's just a convenient fact.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. They're at least having conferences about that. It's funny because I believe it was Politico who had the fact check that smart cities didn't even exist. Like the idea of a smart city was not even real. Yeah. That's all conspiracy theory. Yeah, there's what's called 15-minute cities. And Klaus Schwab wrote about, wanting to centralize population in order to have ultimate power and surveillance over all human beings. Yes, but smart city, doesn't show up in his book or whatever their thing was. It's kind of funny now. They're like, oh yeah, smart cities. We're
been
aware
an
of those.
idea for 30 years. It doesn't require the destruction of a city. Yeah, pretty funny how they skipped over the part where they have to admit that it actually is a thing.
The funny part is they think anybody is actually buying it, what they're saying. There was another sort of branch of the theories that included the tunnel systems. The tunnel systems in Hawaii. There were some pretty prominent known tunnel systems that were located near some high-profile celebrities' properties, but also happened kind of in the areas of the fires. There was also some pretty devastating news about how school children were sent home that day because of the high winds and because of the zero warning signs and stuff, which we'll get into. Their parents didn't know to go home, and tragically they think these children perished in their homes that all got burned up, a whole neighborhood full of these. And then, of course, you've got people thinking, well, perhaps they didn't actually die in the fire and perhaps have met an even more unfortunate end, considering the connections people have made between tunnel systems, celebrities, and missing children.
Yeah, the theories are many layered. And there is also one that would have cosmic implications. Of course, we're talking about the lasers. This one, just a quick headline here. Futurism.com publishing, Chinese military says it's figured out how to build laser weapons that can fire indefinitely. Woo! So of course, if you got lasers, they get hot, but apparently they figured out a way to keep it running, man. Keep the lasers running. And I bring that up just because of the conversation here about the directed energy weapons when it comes to Maui. There's some photos and stuff like that out there, and I don't know. Some people say it's a lens flare. Some people say it's some kind of artifact from the camera or whatnot. Hard to say anything conclusive from video and stuff like that. Although there are definitely compelling videos, but I want to highlight some stuff that was researched by the Last American Vagabond over there on Twitter. He does pretty good work. And I re-researched some of the stuff, some screenshots he had. I went to the source, and I have all the sources listed in the show notes for this episode. But it has to do with directed energy weapons and Maui specifically. So the first thing I want to show you is directly from the Air Force Research Laboratory website, and that's AFRL. And they have basically a contact, under the contact tab, some job openings, AFRL, Directed Energy Research Opportunities. And one of them is in Maui, Hawaii. Which says here, Army's White Sands Missile Range and the Air Force Maui Optical and Supercomputing Site, Amos, in Hawaii.
Ooh.
Yeah, so they have a supercomputer named Amos running in Maui at the Air Force station there. And I'll get to the location of that in a moment. You can also, if you get this job, Basil, this is perfect for you to infiltrate the whole thing. You're our Trojan horse there. High-powered electromagnetics. You got laser systems. You got directed energy and electro-optics for space superiority technologies, weapons molding. And then at the bottom here, it says at the heart of directed energy directorate's research is the mission of the United States Air Force to deliver sovereign options for the defense of the United States of America and its global interests, to fly and fight in air, space, and cyberspace. So, yes, this laser situation, directed energy thing is of national interest or national security interest. Okay, skipping over here to the Air Force website, af.mil. There's Dr. Kelly D. Hammett. There's a profile here, a biography of this man named Dr. Kelly. He's a very established person here. He's a member of the Senior Executive Service, Director and Program Executive Officer for the Space Rapid Capabilities Office, the Space RCO, Kirtland Air Force Base, New Mexico, which I believe is one of the locations, this job. Kirtland Air Force Base, New Mexico is the other location, apart from Maui, listed on this job description. So there is Dr. Hammett. Now, Dr. Hammett entered the Air Force as A second lieutenant in 1988, received his commission through the ROTC program at the University of Oklahoma Norman. His 20-year active duty career spanned a variety of positions, mainly focused on directed energy weapon system technology development and acquisition, and culminated after serving as the director of engineering for a $7 billion airborne laser program. You know, the one everybody knows about. You know that one. His civilian career started at Kirtland AFB, where he served in various positions to include the chief engineer for the chief engineer for the directed energy directorate's optics division and the directed energy directorate's chief engineer, where he led engineering and program management activities and provided technical oversight of more than 30 science and technology programs valued at over $300 million. And it says here he has some world records, like directed energy technology world records. So I'd be interested to know more about that. Throughout his career, he's led more than 30 successful field demonstrations of optical and directed energy technologies for space surveillance, missile defense, force protection, air superiority, and global precision attack mission needs. Prior to his current assignment, Dr. Hammett was a directed energy directorate, Air Force Research Laboratory. Yeah, so he's been doing this thing for a while. It says here in between May 2003 and September 2005, he was Commander-in-Chief Engineer, Detachment 15, Air Force Research Laboratory, Maui, Hawaii. So there's your Maui reference. I mean, he was there. Clearly, there's a station there. But the rabbit hole gets a little bit deeper here. Let's go back to AFRL. That's the Air Force Research Laboratory. They have an article that was published on June 13th of 2022, Directed Energy Leader Recap Time, and AFRL looks ahead in space position. And of course, this is a profile article on Dr. Kelly Hammett, and really, you know, just a puff piece on the guy. And it says here, before taking the role as director, Hammett served 4 years as the directorate's chief engineer, helping to solve a number of challenges in programs such as electric laser on an aircraft, or ELA, the Airborne Laser Testbed, or ALTB, the High Power Microwave CHAMP system, and tackling the Air Force Maui Optical and Supercomputing, or AMOS, Sites Sustainment and Modernization Program, along with other challenges. So he was the guy tackling the Air Force Maui Optical Supercomputing, or AMOS, the site there, Sustainment and Modernization Program. And he talked about this, quote, "We delivered the USAF's first ever operational directed energy weapons," he said. Quote, "As part of the Air Force Directed Energy Experimentation Campaign, AFRL characterized and deployed 4 directed energy counter unmanned aerial systems to overseas locations, 3 Raytheon high-energy laser weapons systems, and the AFRL Tactical High-Power Operational Responder Thor systems."
Woo!
We built Thor in-house in 18 months, a record-breaking time. And for those of you who have not been around, I wrote a book in 2014 called The Cosmic Endgame. It was never published because I just stopped editing it, and I couldn't get anyone to edit it, but it's there. And one of the things I talked about was kinetic bombardment, the rods of God, as it is known. It's part of Project Thor. It's these tungsten rods that can fall from space, and they catch so much velocity that it can get to the core of the earth or something like that. I don't know. It's a crazy concept, but it's been experimented on, and the hyper velocity rod bundles and stuff like that. Talk about calling fire down from heaven
now. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure, at some level. So yeah, this guy, he's stoked that he made Thor in 18 months. This guy's a magician.
He's the guy.
He's the guy. Okay, later down in the article here, to add one more significant milestone, Hammett includes his work with the Maui-based AMOS site, also called AFRL Detachment 15, until it was renamed recently. Quote, "Putting and keeping Maui on a path of financial stability and technical excellence is a major source of satisfaction for me. I was proud to speak of the AMOS team's achievements on May 26th when the AMOS site was activated as the 15th Space Surveillance Squadron, where it is now recognized officially as both a research and development site under AFRL and an operational site under the U.S. Space Force. I could not be more proud of our airmen and guardians at Maui." And he talks about how the weapons need to be, sort of deployed properly, and we need proper, mission clarity and protocol and stuff like that. But this guy really
so he's basically the godfather of the American directed energy weapon industry or something.
Yeah, like the apparatus or the official sort of the public deployment of the technology in sort of an institutionalized or militarized way. So it's very interesting. Now, I looked up where the headquarters are because I was like, okay, where is the HQ of this building? And I found that it was on Google Maps over here. Let's see. I'm going to show it on screen here for people just listening. I'll try to describe it. Maui Research and Technology Park is where I was able to, I looked up the actual, Air Force thing, and that's the address or the area that it gave me. There's a Hawaii Technology Academy thing, but it's pretty close to the edge of, sort of just land. It's not so populated. It's kind of at the edge of the city or living space that's off the shore there. Now, there's a map thing where it shows on, this is foxktvu.com. It has an interactive map of a before and after of the fires in Maui. And interestingly, this changed. No, it did not. Okay. So before, if you zoom in, that whole area, the technology area, is grayed out on the map. But then you pull the scroll or the screen down or whatever, and you see it after the fire allegedly, and you can see the buildings there. So here's my question. If these fires aren't just like some random thing, is it possible that this is kind of like the 2023 version of Pearl Harbor? But, it's all psyop, it's all covert, it's nobody knows exactly what's going on, but damage is done, people die, all that kind of stuff. It just feels like, and I brought up that China story at the beginning because it was just weird to me that China would be like, oh yeah, we got lasers. We got lasers that don't get hot, and then we have the fire thing. There's all this weird Biden stuff we'll get into. But the fact that there are people that have been working at this Maui facility on Maui for this technology with a supercomputer, and they were happy, or they were, it looks like this guy, Dr. Hammett, was sort of on the cutting edge of all this and very proud of the fact that he was able to bring Maui up to par and actually make it part of not just a research development, but what did they say? It was like an active place for the Space Force, a station for the Space Force. Is it possible that one of them was just taken out by another adversary? And I'm trying to think geopolitically in that sense, but of course, there's always the, gold miners pretending to be aliens that have more than just, flying suits or whatever, hoverboards. But
you got to consider the sort of clandestine geopolitical actions that we've seen become so common recently. I mean, one sort of significant difference between this and a Pearl Harbor was used as justification for getting into the war. You don't quite have anybody saying we need to go to war with China or whatever after this. However, we have...
Well, it's not a war on another nation, it's a war on the people, you see. So
right. Well, we have seen how...
line up on climate change stuff.
Right. Well, geopolitical warfare in one way or another, usually sort of economic warfare, things like this, are being waged all the time, and we don't even know about it. I mean, Americans barely even know that we've been occupying Syria for however long, like 10 years or something. There are wars going on that the country just doesn't talk about. And of course, it's totally possible that this could be that's the problem. It's totally possible that all of these things could be working together. It could be a sort of grander. Excuse me 1 second. Ooh, I lost my cough button. Sorry.
Yeah, where's that cough button?
Yeah,
come on.
I had to take it out because it was buzzing.
Oh, okay.
It was buzzing too bad. Anyways, because in a way, we don't even live in a time where countries are necessarily going to war with one another.
Right.
More what we see are global interests going to war with national interests.
Yeah.
And you have this weird sort of dark war going on, not between two nation states, but between the ideologies of globalism and the ideologies of nationalism.
Yeah.
And that could be playing out in any number of ways.
Yeah. Well, a couple things, response from, oh boy, our president, Joe Biden. Let me play this just to introduce Joe, our president.
This is the United States of America, for God's sake.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs. Hairy. Got hairy legs. Hairy COVID.
He tweeted out this morning at 8:28 a.m. We're laser focused on getting aid to survivors, including critical needs assistance. A one-time $700 payment per household, offering relief during an unimaginably difficult time. And then
I know. I thought that was hilarious. They're sending $700 per household, not even per person. $700 per household.
Oh, you know the part that he's not telling him?
Laser focus.
You got to give John Pelletier your DNA to get that $700. That's the part that Joe's not saying.
For sure. Sure, they're going to have some requirements like that. They always do. You got to go give your DNA sample to the head of law enforcement, which, hello, what are you talking about? And that's how you get your $700. And at the same time that they're bragging about sending $700 to each household, NPR's reporting here, the Biden administration is seeking billions in additional funding for Ukraine aid, where they just
forgot about Ukraine. We can't forget about them.
Yeah, where they're just approving. Oh, let me see what we got here. They're seeking $40 billion in emergency funding, including $40 billion. That's just emergency funding. That's not even regular funding. I mean, emergency funding for Maui is $700 per household. How many households would be there? I don't know. Let's call it 10,000. It could be more. I don't know. But I bet you it's less than $40 billion in emergency funding for Ukraine, including $24 billion for Ukraine as part of security, economic, humanitarian assistance for the country as it defends its borders against the Russian invasion. So don't worry, folks. We're going to be taking care of the Ukrainians and Mauians. Look, I know times are tough. I know some you've been dealing with a lot, but they do say it right here. Okay, $12 billion for FEMA to address the ongoing response to wildfires and other natural disasters.
Yeah.
So that's not even including sending it to the families. So we're sending almost 4 times as much to Ukraine in just this go around. this
round, yeah.
It's wild.
And then $12 billion to FEMA, of which is that where the 700 per comes from, or is that a separate thing from
FEMA? Will be handing out the 700
good
per family.
So the rest of the 11.9 billion, they'll just take over the Amos smart computer, supercomputer or something.
And there's not a whole lot of official reporting about this, which there wouldn't be, but a lot of the boots on the ground Maui people there living through it are reporting that other organizations are trying to come help them, and they're being blocked from helping the Mauians by FEMA and the Red Cross. And so, of course, FEMA set up their little FEMA camps where everybody's there. And I just saw a video of a Hawaiian who was wandering around where they shouldn't have been, and they found just pallets and pallets and pallets of aid material that had been sent to them by other organizations that is not getting passed out by FEMA and Red Cross. I don't know. Maybe it's just on the schedule and they haven't gotten to it yet. I don't know. But I'm just saying, you go on Twitter or X, and there are local Maui who are just going absolutely ballistic about how FEMA is dealing with the situation. And they're all, being put in these giant sort of tent FEMA camps and being asked to give their DNA, and that's how you're going to get your $700. And it's just really all nightmarish, honestly.
Yeah. So, there's this one thing. It's not a great clip, but it's Joe Biden being asked any comments on the rising death toll in Maui.
President, any comments on the rising death toll in Maui?
Will you come talk about the Hawaii response, Mr. President?
Nothing there.
He said no comment, and you can barely
No
hear
comment.
it.
No comment.
No comment. Just read my X.
No comment. We are laser.
Read my X post. Laser focused.
Yeah. Horrible. All right. Well, there you go. We're going to continue to pray for the Mauians. I don't know what they're called. I'm sorry. Somebody can educate me on that if I'm not getting it right. But we got you in our prayers. And if we have any producers out there on the islands and you have any information that you'd like us to know, or any whatever videos, just whatever, hit us up. Send us an email, canarycryradio@gmail.com. I got something a little off topic, but it's kind of fun.
Okay.
This is coming from a website called The Hustle, thehustle.co. Sort of a newsletter type outlet here. And they have a fun headline that caught my eyes. And for some reason, this website has so many tracking things on it that it's getting blocked. Okay, there we go. The headline: podcasting has a big money problem. Yeah, you're telling me, The Hustle. Podcasting has a big money problem.
Where's the... Okay, continue. I'm not going to ask questions. I'll just listen.
This is fun. Don't worry. It's just pretty... in here. Podcasts are more popular than ever. Among listeners, anyway. For many creators and production companies, it sure doesn't feel that way. The money that sustains their shows has slowed to a halt. Oh no! The money on the podcasts. What's going on? It says the last decade or so has been a golden age for podcasting. I love how they're calling it a golden age of podcasting when it's really just like podcasts, got invented.
Yeah, it's only been, 20 years?
Less than that. I mean, kind of the very, 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 very early infrastructure for RSS feeds. I mean, I think that was like 2002, but it didn't really work. It wasn't the same thing. But around 2007, 2008 was podcasting's sort of real kind of get going time. And then, of course, didn't really catch on until nobody knew what a podcast was until about 2015. But anyways, it's the golden age for podcasting. Shows like Serial popularized the medium and took it mainstream. Today, 64% of Americans say they're podcast listeners. That's a lot of people. This listening boom saw media companies invested $1 billion in podcast acquisitions and celebrity deals. Gotta love a celebrity deal. That's including the Prince Harry podcast and Meghan Markle, who they didn't even do the podcast. They had producers go out and interview people, and then they spliced in the answers from their interviewees with later recorded tracks of Meghan Markle asking the questions. She didn't even do the interviews. It was a nightmare. But this year, those investments have scaled back hard. The investments, oh no, the investments gone. In March, layoffs at NPR led to the cancellation of 4 popular podcasts. Oh no. In June, Spotify laid off 200 employees from its podcast division, shuttering some of its major shows. Oh, they're dropping like flies, Gons. The podcasts. this month, SiriusXM will officially shut down its once popular podcast player, Stitcher. And this is a good opportunity to remind all of the people who listen to this show on Stitcher that Stitcher is shutting down. You're going to need to find another podcast app to listen to the show. Maybe we'll start giving some recommendations one of these days. But keep an ear out, Stitcher. You got to listen to us other places. Now, here's a fun part. Where did things go wrong, Gons? Where do you think things went wrong? Put simply, it says, advertisers are no longer footing the bill. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, it turns out with the advertising model, sure, your listeners don't have to think about it or get involved or produce your show. You just play an advertisement, but you can have more listeners than you've ever had, and the advertisers can just say no, and then your show gets shuttered. The monetization model for most podcasts took, I like they say most. The monetization model for most podcasts took power away from their listeners.
Hey. That's what we say we're not going to do.
That's right. Mainstream reporting on how advertising model took power away from listeners. They have very, very, very popular shows that they have had to shut down because of advertising dollars drying up. It didn't even occur to them to try the value for value model. They're like, nope, no ads, no show. With shows distributed for free, fans haven't been the ones exchanging money to keep their favorite shows going. That'd be corporations and advertisers. Yeah, look at that. Isn't this funny? Now, that market is in a state of correction.
Oh, it's correct.
I love,
Yes,
I love the language. It's not, an apocalypse of podcasters. It is a state of correction, as if to say that it was incorrect before. How corporations and advertisers were the ones taking power away from listeners and keeping shows going.
One of the
with
things,
a recession.
Before you go on real quick.
Sure.
The whole idea that corporations and advertisers are the only ones that are keeping podcasts afloat, that is a form of necrocapitalism.
That's right. Exactly. We're watching it.
Los caminos de capitalism.
Necrocapitalism.
Profiteers of death.
That's right. Necrocapitalism coming to a podcast player near you. With a recession looming over the past year, advertising budgets have been among the first to go for companies looking to curb spending. The podcast industry has watched that happen in real time this year. Real time, Gons. And now, it's no secret. We've also seen quite the decline in producership, where we are alive, and that's apparently a huge victory
like a miracle
over
these
over all these other corporate podcasts and their advertising monetization. But as recession happens and value for value producership goes down. But the fun part is, if we were going to completely have to shut down the show, we have lots of people to decide that the show is done, not two advertisers who have decided to shut your show down.
Yeah.
We need at least hundreds of people to decide to shut us down. The podcast industry has watched that happen in real time this year. The silver lining here, there's a silver lining, Gons. Podcast isn't going anywhere. It just needs a more sustainable business model.
Oh, sustainable business model. I wonder
sustainable
what
business model.
Kind of a sustainable.
And that is the end of the article. The end of the article says podcasting isn't going anywhere. It just needs a more sustainable business model. And we are here to finish that sentence for you, dear thehustle.co, because the more sustainable business model is not a business model at all. It's called value for value.
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
That's right.
Gons, we are getting sort of, dare I say it, well acquainted, or maybe even used to the idea that we're just so ahead of the curve, and pretty much whatever we say on this show, even our wildest theories, end up becoming reality, or were reality the whole time. And it's always fun. That's part of the fun, fulfilling part of it for us. But even down to the value for value model, which of course we did not invent, but we did adopt as soon as we needed to. I mean, we never took advertising money. We never took any corporate money. We've always been funded by people who listen to the show. And they've kept it alive now for 10 years. Is it 10? It's over 10. It's 11. 12. No,
it's going on 12.
We're going on 12. Going on 12. Yeah, 12 years, all because of our producers. And it's because the producers get it. It's the value for value model. If they get value from what happens on this show, they put value back in. And it's not just money. It's participation. It's culture. It's time, talent, or treasure. It's real. When we say it's a paradigm change, it really is a paradigm change. And it's not just about media. It's not just about podcasting. It's honestly, and it sounds cheesy, but value for value really is a state of mind. It's a state of mind, and it's a new way to organize sort of the economy of interpersonal sort of value creation. And that's what we do here. We try to create as much value as possible. And if you get any value from what we do, you can put it back in. There's lots of ways to do that. And we will be thanking people who do it in all sorts of ways. But one of those ways is simply to leave us voice messages.
Oh, yeah. That's a good segment that I was not ready for. Yeah, it's good. Participation in the show, getting your voice on the show. This is all part of the thing. And, another one is spiritual producership, which we've got our producers. We've got people who go on over to canarycrynewstalk.com, hit the green tab on the bottom or the right-hand side, and leave pre-show prayers. It's a whole ecosystem of people coming together to make this show happen. Do we have any voicemails? We do.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message. Go to canarycrynewstalk.com or any canarycrynewstalk.com page, whether it's the art submission page or the support page. Look for a green tab on the right side or the bottom. Click on it. It'll pop up a little window where you can record a audio message of up to 90 seconds, and you can send it to us. Today, we have a message from, usually he's given us pre-show prayers, but today he's just got a regular SpeakPipe message. That's Brenton J.B.
Hey, Basil Gons. This is Canary BB. Had a thought.
Canary BB.
This blocking out the sun stuff they're talking about doing, what if they're trying to set up a backdrop for the Project Blue Beam? I mean, don't you need a screen to project on? Anyway, peace.
Totally.
Yeah,
I think that's a great, we can even tie that into the eco-terrorism, whether it's chemtrails, geoengineering, which is now unofficial White House bullet point, used to be crazy conspiracy theorists talking about geoengineering. Now it's released in, White House memos all the time. Also the eco-terrorism when it comes to the plastic factory, the recycling factory, putting particulates into the air, a lot of climate change, block out the sun type of stuff. I think all of that could be creating like a worldwide sort of hologram medium just in the air. You need particulates to project blue beam the aliens into the sky, project holograms wherever. And if you get enough plastics factories burning, you get enough chemtrails, you get enough geoengineering going, you got enough particulates to pretty much broadcast a hologram anywhere in the world. That's a pretty good connection.
Yeah. Well, and plus the the plastic conversation, the microplastics conversation, just because you brought it up on the offshoot there. We didn't do the story, but New York Post had a story: microplastics found in human hearts for first time, alarming new study finds. So
right.
Microplastics are everywhere, and maybe it's kind of like that. There's a symbiosis or a synthesis that creates the mind control. Where it's like, oh, I'm seeing the aliens, and then all the nanoplastics in your body starts to flicker or something like that, and then it makes
the nanobots fire up your it's a sort of full spectrum dominance type of situation,
right? A full submission to the beast system,
right.
So it makes sense. Thank you for that.
Thanks for the
Canary
message.
BB. I guess Canary BB. I need to clarify that his name is Canary BB.
Well, we just got to write down these names. I saw Canary BB in the chat earlier.
All right.
Thank you very much, Canary BB. Okay. Let's see here. We already thanked our executive producer at the top of the show. Thank you very much, Felicia D. We got a few more people. Short list. Don't worry. You don't need to skip forward too much there, podcast listeners. Short list, but we're very grateful for all these producers who decided, you know what? I do get value from this show, and I want to live virtuously if I believe that value should be rewarded with value, and I want to do my job to participate in the continuation of my favorite podcast. I'll get involved. And these people sent in some cold, hard fiat currency for us, and we appreciate that very much. I'm just going to start. Yeah. Okay. This next group of people came in above the $7.77 mark.
Okay.
And let's just go ahead and thank them, Gon. Starting with Malik W. came in.
Malik W. Thank you very much.
Yep. Nice round number, which means we won't disclose it, but he is on a 6-episode streak. Woo!
He's on fire.
Yeah.
All right, Malik.
Malik, you're on fire, buddy.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Sir Ike comes in. Let me get
Ike.
Yeah, Sir Ike popping in saying hi. Sir Ike, the tinfoil hat man, 6-string strummer of the East Ozark Highlands and keeper of the honking cobra chickens. Whew. Thank you, Sir Ike. Comes in for $7.77 plus fees. And a little note here. Says, this is a special birthday switcheroo for my sidekick and partner in the supply drop. Oh, yes, a reminder. If somebody doesn't know, Sir Ike is the master of the supply drop and makes it all happen. And if things don't happen or take a while to happen, it's usually my fault, which is the case right now. Don't worry, folks. The supply drop is still on its way, manufacturing. It's my fault, not Sir Ike's. But yes, back to his note. This is a special birthday switcheroo for my sidekick and partner in the supply drop, Aloha. Aloha. It's spelled aloha, but pronounced aloha, who is turning 8.
Hey.
Ooh, that's a young producer. Look at that, folks.
Happy birthday to
Happy birthday, Aloha, and thank you so much for helping out Sir Ike with the supply drop there. See? Keep that in mind, supply droppers. Not only are those supply drops being put together by real Canarians, but also child labor laws aren't being respected.
Careful. Yeah, sure.
You can work for family. You can work for family for as young as you want. That's actually a tax write-off. So happy birthday to Aloha, and congrats to Sir Ike there. Please count this towards her future damehood.
Hey.
Without her by my side and the supply drop, it wouldn't be possible. Wow. Well, thank you very much, future Dame Aloha. And everybody around the world is wishes you a very happy birthday and is very proud of you for helping out with the supply drop. Actually, Guns, you just sent me a big box that had a bunch of my supply drops that hadn't made it to me yet. And it's just the coolest thing in the world. I just sat there for like an hour going through each and every little item that I had seen digitally, but had not actually held in my hands. And I forgot. We make some really cool and funny stuff for the supply drop.
We do. It's great stuff.
It's great stuff. And so there you go. That's also a little plug for the Canary Cry Supply Drop, folks. Go to canarycrysupply.com. Sign up. You're just saying, yes, I get value from the show, and I get $33.33 worth of value for the show, because that's what you'll send in every month. Keeps us going. If it wasn't for the supply droppers and the T-shirt council, we would be doomed. We would have gone the way of Stitcher and popular NPR shows.
It's kind of scary, when they start falling off. The bigger the big ones start to fall, you're kind of like, whoa, looking around like, hey.
Yeah. Well, that's our gift. We are truly gifted, Gons. And you know this. We talk about this all the time. But just to say it out loud on the show, we get people telling us all the time, and it's very flattering, where they say, I cannot believe that you don't have, 700 million YouTube subscribers. I cannot believe that you don't have, whatever, a gazillion Twitter followers, this kind of stuff. We're fairly modestly quantified as if those are your metrics.
Sure.
They don't see all the numbers, but people say it all the time. And you and I, we talk about, how should we go full Joe Rogan? Let's go. Let's become the most popular
Order the
podcast in the
creatine.
world.
Yeah.
Before we come to terms with the reality that we are like a niche within a niche within a niche within a niche as far as our content goes. And there's probably, I don't know, a very small number of people who fit into that niche. But we have come to the conclusion many times that our modest sort of success is a huge blessing, because you get too big and things just start getting wonky.
It gets wacky and weird. We like to just be
Really
slow and
wacky.
steady, baby. Like
slow and steady, taking it easy. Not a lot of podcasts, even the most popular ones, don't make it 11 years, almost 12 years. So that's all because of the producers. Thank you, Sir Ike, and thank you, future Dame Aloha. Birthday girl.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we did Malik. Next up, we got Sir LX Protocol V2, Night of the Brian Protocol. Came in for $7.77. He's on a 203 episode streak.
Oh yeah, Streakalicious.
Streakalicious. No note. Thank you very much, Sir LX Protocol.
Thank you.
Next up, we got Sir Casey the Shield Knight. Comes in for $7.77 with fees, and is on a 332 episode streak.
Oh yeah, Streakalicious.
So close to that 333. It's hard to handle. Thank you, Sir Casey. You did send in a note here. It says producer updates. Why don't we hit that?
Producers, assemble!
Producer update. Thank you for your prayers. Little Rowan had scarlet fever and is all better.
Hey.
Praise God and thank y'all for the prayers. Woo!
All right.
Here we go. Yes. Thank you very much to the producers. If you don't know, producers are people who pray for the show, pray for the producers of the show, just pray for whatever needs get praying for. And Lil Rowan was having a hard time, but is feeling all better now. Just a little scarlet fever. Thank you very much, Sir Casey the Shield Knight. We're so happy to hear it.
Yep.
Shoo, hallelujah.
And that's it. Just those four for the $7.77 mark and over. Pretty consistently 777 today. We got a few who came in under that mark, and we'll thank them real quick.
Okay.
Starting with producer Veronica D. 293 episodes in a row.
Wow. Up there.
Next up, we've got Sir Scott, Knight of Truth. Oh, and here we go. Let's get that jingle ready, because Sir Scott, Knight of Truth, is on a 322 episode streak.
3, 2, 2.
Oh yeah, Streakalicious.
Boom.
Streakalicious. 3, 2, 2. Oh.
Oops, sorry. Got trigger happy.
Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones Scott, they call him. Thank you very much, Sir Scott, Knight of Truth.
Thank you very much.
Next up, we got Dame Gale, Canary Whisperer, and Lady of X's and O's. 291 episodes in a row.
I was supposed to do that at the end. Continue.
What is going on? Thank you very much, Dame Gale. We got Sir Morv now to the Burning Chariots, 265 episodes in a row.
All right, so this is for all of them.
Oh, yeah, Streakalicious.
Women rule.
There we go. That concludes our list of financial producers. Thank you all so much. And if you're out there and you're thinking to yourself, okay, I finally understand it. I've been listening for 10 years, and I never understood the value for value model, but suddenly it's dawned on me. I get it. I think I want to put some value back in. You can go ahead and head on over to canarycry.support to learn more.
Canarycry.support. And if you have a God-given talent, that is another way to produce the show. But you can provide, if you get value out of the show, you can provide value back by helping us build the culture behind the community here at Canary Cry News Talk. I'm going to kick it off with audio production.
Audio production.
First one here is from Jonathan F. Jonathan F. doing work. Just submitted the 333 streak jingle as requested. So
Just
here's a
in time.
preview for next episode for Sir Casey the Shield Knight. Ooh.
Nice. Love it.
Quick.
Snappy.
Moody. Thank you very much.
Moody.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Jonathan
Great job.
F. Appreciate it. All right. Next up, we have Little Owen coming in. Christ has made a way when there seems to be no way. He is rich to all who call on his great name. The middle wall that separated us from God, Jesus, had broken down. Love you all. And he's got a track here, Break the Middle. Is that the full name of the title? Hold on. Break the Middle Wall. Yeah, Break the Middle Wall. Here's a few seconds of that.
At that time, you were without Christ. Aliens from Commonwealth of Israel.
Man, I always picture like a huge concert when I hear Lil Owen's songs. Like it's just like the perfect big concert, everyone holding candles. I guess everyone holds phones now, but back in the day, people held candles up on ballads, you know. It's got that feel. But thank you very much, Lil Owen. We'll play the whole thing at the end of the show. Any thoughts on
Sorry, I muted myself again. That was
good.
so annoying. It is so annoying because I'm trying to talk and you just keep talking over me and I can't tell if you are
I'm just being a jerk to you.
being a jerk or not.
Well, I guess he's not there. Just keep going forward. There you go. Thank you.
Of course, the RSS feed listeners will hear me desperately trying to get a word in while the live listeners can't hear it. Yes, I was going to say, we've had a number of talented producers over the years who, you know, they have long runs. They'll produce a show for hundreds of episodes in a row with their talent. And it is incredible to, in real time, watch them go from, you know, being pretty good at their art to like mastering it live on the show. And Lil Owen's stuff has always been great, but like you can definitely tell piece by piece, like he is truly reaching some masterful levels here. Thank you, Lil Owen.
Yeah, Lil Owen. We've had a lot of those musicians out there, Psalm 40 and John F's been at it for a long time. So
Marty B's
at it. Yeah, so it's a good group.
Of course, Dame
Allie.
Musicians. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of artists, let's go do some art now.
One art, please.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Gons, but it's because you missed one. You missed one, and I think it's a pretty good one. It's in the email, and it's from I believe Marty B. Yeah, Marty B. And while you get that, I will describe why I didn't leave it. Sometimes if you miss one, I will leave it. We'll do it next episode just for time's sake. But Marty B sent an email with the subject line, "Everybody was cat foo fighting." And as you'd expect, this caught my attention. Marty B knows how to catch my attention in the inbox. We usually require that if you're going to submit art to the show, you go to canarycry.art. Because if you go to canarycry.art in a browser and upload your art to our art upload portal, it goes into a beautiful spreadsheet, which means that we can find it whenever we need it, which took us about 9 years to figure out was the case. But now, or to figure out that we were losing art in our inbox, in our email box, and it was very frustrating for us. Turns out you can make it so it goes into a spreadsheet. We got the spreadsheet. Most people go that way. Marty B, he's like, I'm not going to use the spreadsheet. I'm not going to upload it to where I'm supposed to upload it. That's for chumps. I'm going to email my buddies and send them some art in the old fashion so that they will almost inevitably lose it in their email box. Unless I make the subject line, everybody was cat foo fighting.
Okay.
So you did a great job, Marty B. And the body of this email is even more sort of compelling. The only words written in the email are, I have no idea why I did this. So we have to listen to it on the show.
Okay, hold on. I know we have a Marty B intro jingle. And that's
Yes.
the one that I always had ready, and then I always lose whenever it's time to actually play a Marty B jingle.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't be. See, this is the thing, folks. This is why our podcast survives while all those professional studio grade podcasts who have, salaried producers and a team of 50 people producing the podcast, doing advertisements. They have a sales department. That's why we survive and they don't, is because, you know what? Sometimes Gons mislabels a file and there's nobody that we can fire or yell at or blame. And it's just, we got to live in a world where we're live on the air, live to tape, recording a podcast. And we just have to deal with it. It's a good life skill and will sort of train your brain to realize that there's more important things going on in the world than labeling your files correctly.
All right, well.
Have I stalled enough for you?
I don't think I'm going to be able to find it, but let's just go ahead and play.
Here, I'll do one. Okay. It's a Marty B jingle.
That's about right. Okay, here's cat foo fighting.
Everybody was cat foo fighting. Those cats were fast as lightning. There was Gone Samurai, and that's a googly eye. And the fact checkers attack. That's when they has to die. Everybody was a cat foo fighting.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
Oh my God.
The dissonance.
There's so much
it's
going
jazz,
on.
Marty B. That was jazz, Marty B. That you just took
excellent
notes that don't fit and just made it work.
As usual, my old man ears do need some vox turned up just a little bit, because I can tell that the that the lyrics are truly a masterpiece of modern creation. But I need to hear them a little bit better. But thank you very much, Marty B.
Thank you, Marty.
Incredible job.
Appreciate it.
And you know what? I have no idea why you did that either, but I'm really glad you did.
It sounded like just get to the studio. There's no real plan. You just kind of have fun with it. That's always fun. You come up with fun things. So
that's where the best stuff comes from.
Appreciate it. All right. Let's do some art.
One art, please.
Sir Dove coming in.
One art, please, from Dove.
He says, peace. For this week's Bible artwork, I did an illustration for Psalm 34:14. Turn from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it. Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for you. Are you submitted again? Okay.
No, sorry. I was reading the chat. Marty B's in the chat. He had some things to say, but sorry. Who are we doing? We're doing Sir Dove?
Yeah, Sir Dove. Yeah,
Sir Dove. Thank you very much, Sir Dove. And this is me stalling for myself because I also misplaced something, but I have it now. This is the Psalm 34 one? Yeah, it is. Thank you very much, Sir Dove. We've got a beautiful image of looks like a sunset from about 30,000 feet in the sky. Beautiful. Sort of a gradient from blue to a deep fire orange back down to a purple. And it says, turn from evil and do good. And the evil font is fiery and scary, and the good font is sort of angelic and blue, and it's got beautiful smiling angels in the O's. Thank you very much, Sir Dove.
Thank you, Sir Dove. Appreciate it. Next up, we have Shagan. That's
Shagan.
Reagan and Shane. Or is that Shane? I can't remember. What's the combination?
It's
I guess
Shagan.
they'll tell us. We first saw Reagan and Shagan. No, Reagan of Shagan.
No. It's Shagan.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, Shagan. Okay, they have a note. We first saw the world coin orb and immediately thought of the phantasm spheres. Since 1979, Phantasm has been teaching audiences to fear the sphere. Oh, so I thought I would make a couple of collages for the show. Love and prayers to all the Canarians. Reagan is Shagan. Yep, there you go.
There you go. This is fun. I had no idea. I'm not familiar with this media property, but apparently the world coin orb has been foretold in prophecies before. Phantasm. We've got some, I would say, an image that is, I don't know, which one are you showing first?
The one with the actual world coin orb above, where it says
at the
world
top.
coin
Okay.
orb, question mark?
So at the top, we've got the world coin orb, some text that says world coin ... orb, fear the sphere down at the bottom, and some images from a movie apparently called Phantasm, which features a silver orb, just like the world coin orb. And people are very scared of it, it looks like. And one guy is putting it up to his eye. He's looking into the orb, just as you're supposed to do with the world coin orb. That's very strange.
It's like a baby orb, though. It's a kind of a smaller, maybe like an orange size orb.
Sure.
Maybe it was when the world coin orb was a baby.
Grapefruit orb, yeah. And then there's a second piece here featuring some similar text and similar images. World coin orb. It has the world coin orb right there, which just keeps looking more sinister every time I see it. Although they do show the Phantasm Silver Sentinel. I'm going to have to watch this movie. Which looks like a world coin orb with some ears on the side of it, some like kind of robot looking ears, and an eye right in the middle of it. But don't think of like world coin orb that has a camera for an eye. This has like a terrifying, huge human eyeball
yeah,
in the middle of it, which is honestly feels like sort of a spiritual representation of the world coin orb. This is really bizarre, actually. And then Phantasm Gold Sentinel down at the bottom. Same thing, just gold orb instead of silver orb.
World coin gold orb is definitely happening. That's
coming. That's for premium users.
Yeah.
That's for their sort of VIP users get the gold orb.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Shagan. Good find. Thanks for putting that together.
Yeah, appreciate it. Oh, you know what? One thing to mention on that second Phantasm Silver Sentinel orb, there is a kind of like a screwdriver or like a screw coming out of it. So if you do put your eye right up to it, then that thing might gouge.
You get a little screwdriver kiss.
Sure, kiss. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, perfect. There you go. We're good. That's it.
Okay.
Nobody else.
Okay. Well, did your brain just frizz out?
No,
or
I was
something?
waiting. I thought we were done. Oh, we got microfiction. That's right. Okay, here we go.
Microfiction.
It's late, folks. It's been a long day. Okay, we got. Do we have Rung Smash today, or did Rung Smash? We finished
I don't know.
this series.
Let's do Stefan S, and I'll see if anything came in.
Okay, here comes Stefan S's microfiction.
After Desdemona's grand speech at the AI for Good Global Summit, It fell to the ground in a robotic epileptic fit. Security analysis quickly traced a cyber attack back to Hanson Robotics data center, where her sister Sophia's AI processing resides.
Yeah, the cyber pandemic might just be robots fighting in cyberspace and spilling spilling into the physical world. That's a good point.
Oh, yeah. Is that what you got from that? That was pretty, yeah. Okay, so we know this. Flippy update. Enjoyers know that Desdemona, the robot, who's in a band, is the sister of Sophia, the robot. Sort of first humanoid robot woman to be given citizenship by a nation. I believe it was Saudi Arabia. And it looks like Sophia committed some sororicide, which is a word that I just looked up. Sororicide, which is sister violence. Thank you very much, Stephanos.
Good to know. Good to know. I might bring that up later. Yeah. Conversations.
Yeah, sororicide. Remember
makes
that one,
sense.
folks.
Sorority.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Got it.
Yeah, I should have been able to just put that together in my head, but I did have to do sister patricide is how I Googled that. If anybody's wondering how my genius search heuristics brought me to the information I needed. Take that, ChatGPT. All right. I think that's it. Now, here's the thing, folks. Value for value. It's how the show has survived this long. It's how we are out surviving the big corporate sponsored podcasts. This is how we do it. And this is the paradigm shift that will at least assist in keeping the good stuff alive while the rest is burned away. If you get any value from the show, consider putting some value back in with your time, your talent, or your treasure. If you're a talented person and you want to help flesh out the culture here on Canary Cry, you can go to canarycry.art to upload your art. You can go to, if you have a article you'd like us to consider for the show, you can go to canarycry.report to send us that. And of course, as always, if you're looking for a way to help the show, you can head on over to canarycry.support.
Yeah. Are we ready to wrap things up with the last story here?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. It's biblical.
It's got to be biblical.
All right, this last story is coming from Fox News. There's a couple headlines that covered it, but we'll take this one here. Bible comes to life as precious gems discovered for first time in Israel. Okay, and there's a long, 7-minute report video from Fox that covers the story, and that video is titled "Family Claims They Fulfilled Bible Prophecy by Discovering Precious Gems in Israel." So I was curious what this was all about.
And the video, I'm sort of convinced, is basically a paid advertisement on Fox News.
Yeah, it looks like a paid advertisement. There is some history with the gems or whatever.
Well, I mean, it doesn't look like a paid advertisement. It looks like a news story, but
sure. We know how
almost certainly is a paid advertisement.
Right. Acre Israel, a family-owned company, said it brought Bible verses to life after the Israeli government certified it as the first to discover precious gems in the Holy Land. The verse found in the book of Isaiah states that Israel's foundations will be laid with sapphires and its borders with precious stones. After the Taubes discovered various gems through its mining firm, the Israeli family launched a new company in 2022 to sell them. Quote, "I will lay your foundations with sapphire, and I'll make your widows of jasper and your gates of carbuncle stones, and all your borders of precious stone." Isaiah 54:11 through 12, the verse reads. Quote, "It is a promise of God to Israel," Holy Gems CEO Tali Shalem Taub told Fox News. Quote, "Why nobody ever tried to find them before, I don't know, but it's true." Holy Gems launched, this is the name of the company, is Holy Gems, launched after the Taubes mining company Shefa in Israel received permission to sell the gems it extracted near the northern Israeli city of Haifa. Its facility is located in the ancient city of Acre. where the company sorts the gems from soil and welcomes visitors to its showroom. The gems and minerals mined so far include natural moissanite, sapphire, ruby, garnet, hibonite, spinel, ilmenite, zircon, rutile, and even diamonds, though they aren't commercial grade. The crown jewel of the company is the caramel sapphire, also known as cameltazite, which includes a mineral previously thought to only exist in space.
Whoa!
According to Shalem Taub. So space and Israel, the only place where the stone exists. At first, Shefa didn't know what the mineral was, so it sent a sample for identification to its then collaborator, Mercury University in Australia. Quote, they were the ones to discover that this gem is a conundrum with inclusions inside which are minerals that do not exist anywhere else in the world, Shalem Taub said, adding that the conditions needed for this gem are very specific. Quote, the scientists actually said that it was like a scientific proof of the uniqueness of the land itself. Quote, we totally recognize and connect with the holiness of this land, the history of this land, Shalem Taub said. We didn't know it was special also in terms of geology. The sapphire with various shades of blue and gray has a sky-like appearance. The gem only found in the Holy Land was chosen as the International Mineralogical Association's 2018 Mineral of the Year.
Ooh, Mineral of the Year.
It was not an easy path for the Taub family to make their discovery. The family got into the business of precious gems after Shalem Taub's grandfather, Channon Taub, fled Europe for Israel when Adolf Hitler came to power and set up one of the first diamond polishing factories in Israel. Quote, he managed to escape the Holocaust, but unfortunately the rest of his family died there, Shalem Taub said. And he goes into a little bit more of the Jewish history. They mentioned Rabbi Schneerson, which, if I'm not mistaken, Rabbi Schneerson is the guy who's been saying, like, the Messiah's coming, like, multiple times over the years. He's been
that guy,
quoted as saying, like, the Messiah's here, and then, you know, just every few years he's saying it and getting headlines. Quote, the uniqueness of Haifa are that it has a sea and it has a valley, and in that valley there are precious stones and gems, Schneerson said in the video in Hebrew, although he never visited Israel. As a devout follower, the elder Shab took Schneerson at his word and launched Shefa to search for the gems, despite scientists and experts telling him gems were unlikely to exist that region. Quote, he was a jeweler and a businessman, a diamond trader. So it goes on here and talks about Schneerson. Now, okay, there's some jewelry they show that represents the splitting of the Red Sea from Moses. So they, the design of the ring is kind of like two waves coming together and whatnot. But it's interesting because, part of the pitch here is that this lady is fulfilling Bible prophecy, the book of Isaiah, and there's some parts about the gems and the precious stones in Israel, and here they are, and we're going to start selling them. And I'm looking at it going,
people don't even read their Bible, for heaven's sakes.
That's what I'm thinking, because, the book of Revelation, chapter 17, talks about the merchants of the earth. Part of how they get wealthy is that they sell precious stones, gems, things of that nature. I didn't actually have time to see if this particular piece is mentioned as part of the stuff that they sell.
Carmel, sapphire, or whatever.
Yeah, this is cargo of gold, silver, precious stones, and pearl, fine linen, purple, silk, and scarlet. Marble.
Yeah, they got all their stuff in there. They got gems.
Yeah. I mean, the gems.
I thought it sounded bizarre. I mean, there's a couple wonderful things. I mean, the fact that the only other place that this thing exists is in space is pretty cool, pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I did do some poking around. I thought, surely this is not like the first company to find gems in Israel. I kind of figured that, like, everybody's got some sort of gems in their country. I didn't know they were like that rare. You'd have to go to very specific parts of the world. Diamonds are kind of generally sort of found all over the place. Of course, some have more than others. But yeah, this is like I cannot find any other evidence of gems being mined. Or I don't know, what are we talking about? There's a difference between gems and precious stones, I guess, right? Precious gems, are those different? Whatever, you get the point. I cannot find any other evidence of Israel ever mining and selling precious gems. That seems wild to me.
Well,
that has never happened.
Part of the theory also is that, as they establish the temple again, they're going to do sacrifices and worship services there of Yahweh,
right.
In the context of the Old Testament and Judaism. And,
right.
Setting up the altar and all that, you need all the stuff. So, and then people come and they buy the stones as part of, hey, I'm going to take home a part of the temple or whatever. So it clearly states in Revelation 18:11 that merchants of the earth will weep and mourn. This is after it all goes down because there's no one left to buy their cargo, right? So I don't know, just an interesting foreshadowing maybe of where this is headed and what the land, the area of Israel and it's always been the center of attention when it comes to prophecy, especially since 1947. But in the context of what at least I've been looking at for many years, this idea that Mystery Babylon is eschatological Jerusalem. There's plenty of evidence to suggest that in the scriptures. In the context, turning Israel back into, not just back into, but as some kind of world capital, specifically Jerusalem. It's interesting, especially with the kind of conservative swing taking place in the United States and everyone talking about Judeo-Christian values and all that kind of stuff. Are Christians in America just going to go along with the reestablishment of certain Judaic traditions? And it gets really dicey, for Christians, because some people are really into that stuff with Hebrew roots type of thing. But then,
it was a core part of my evangelical upbringing was that exact thing.
Right.
I mean, that is American evangelicalism is at least for some, it was for me, almost centralized over the nation state of Israel in modern times. It's very interesting.
Yeah, you're not allowed to question anything coming out of there.
I cannot find a single other story about precious gems mining in Israel. It is all pages and pages about Shefa. Not a single other company named. Wow. That is bizarre.
Yeah, well, there you go. Somebody has a monopoly over there. Maybe it's them, and they're, obviously they have some history and everything. But, I thought it was interesting because Fox News carrying a story about Bible prophecy being fulfilled, whether it's clearly is some kind of placement ad here. The company might have paid for a little bit of attention. But again, talking about certain prophecies in the Old Testament, but omitting the big one at the end about merchants of the earth getting rich from precious stones, and then not mentioning that, of course, in the context, you'd have to be on board with the understanding, the study of Jerusalem being, or eschatological Jerusalem being Mystery Babylon, and know that sort of theology, I guess, or the scriptures to really be on board with it. Because otherwise, a lot of people just think it's Rome and things of that nature, which there's something to be said about that as well. I'm not completely dismissing those theories. But there you go. Little Bible talk, little mainstream Bible talk. How does this shape Christian nationalism? How does it shape the evangelicals of America who are trying to hold on to traditional values as the progressive leftist Democrat Gavin Newsom's start to take over the country?
Niche of the niche of the niche of the niche, people. Thanks for being
Until
here.
Gavin Newsom is the winner of the Democratic ticket and he's running against, I don't know, Trump versus Gavin.
Vivek Ramaswamy. That guy has been killing it. We have not talked about Vivek.
I had a story about Vivek.
I don't know if I like him, but I've been listening and seeing a bunch of his interviews. He is a masterful politician. Yeah, he's better than anybody out there right now. Whoever's writing his script is on crack. No, on point.
On point. Yeah.
Totally on point.
He's
it's
the
really
guy.
bizarre.
He's the guy that was listed as a young global leader or whatever by the World Economic Forum, and he's like, no, I don't want to be on that list, allegedly. And then he sued him and won, and now they apologize and take his name off the list and all.
Right.
Great way to get
sued the WEF because allegedly they put him as a young global leader,
right,
without
no.
even telling or asking or anything. They just did it. He alleges that they did it to sabotage his political career or hopeful career or whatever.
Yeah,
but yeah, actually won a lawsuit. That was pretty interesting.
Well, in 2023, the way you gain the trust of a very skeptical populace is to somehow be martyred in one way or another by the establishment. So that's a great tactic if someone in the back room is like, hey, we really need this guy to get more attention. Well, what do we do? Well, who's the number one enemy of the people right now? It's the World Economic Forum and Klaus, and that's all the talk. So why not make this guy the center of attention, throw a lawsuit at the World Economic Forum, win, gain some, make it feel like he's gaining traction against the globalists. He is really kind of the perfect sneaky candidate there.
Whether or not, whatever the circumstances were with that whole thing, it is a perfect example of just how masterfully that guy is getting set up right now.
Pro Bitcoin too. Pro Bitcoin.
I mean, he's just on point with everything. I don't know how to explain it. We'll talk. I'm sure we'll have to talk more about him later.
Yeah, we dropped a couple stories about him over the last few weeks and stuff. But yeah,
there will be more. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk, and thank you all for participating in our existence. I would like to thank just a couple other groups of producers, starting with the Clippies.
Clippy all those videos. Thanks.
That's right. Canary Cry Clips channel on YouTube and Odyssey. Go subscribe to that. It's this show, but it's all clipped, nice and short, segment by segment. It's a great thing. Go check it out. And that's only possible because of our timestamper.
Timestamp. It's hard work. Timestamp.
Yes, the timestamps, they're very important. They go into so much of what we do. And the timestampers are just a wonderful group of people. And producer Jade Bouncerson has just been holding it down lately. Did the timestamps for episode 654. We need another timestamper. So if anybody out there, especially you live viewers, but really anybody, if you want to get involved, looking for a way to put some value back into the show, Jade Bouncerson is maybe the hardest working person in the organization right now, and we would love to get Jade some help. So if anybody out there wants a timestamp, it's easy, it's simple. But it is extremely important. Send us an email at canarycryradio@gmail.com. Thank you for everybody who sent us articles for us to take a look at, going over to canarycry.report. Thank you, Jam, for the links, as always. Did you have anybody special you wanted to thank for articles?
I don't think we got any more than the people we thanked last time, so I believe.
No, nobody sent anything in. Okay, thank you very much, Jam. Thank you very much, Clank, for everything you do. And other than that, folks, share the show. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Now, the world has never been in a better place to receive the news about Canary Cry News Talk. It just keeps getting better, too. Isn't that fun? So share the show. Post it on your social. Tell your parents about it. Share it with your friends. You are equipped. Better than most people now to have conversations. It blows my mind how often I hear someone start talking about something in the news like, oh my gosh, have you seen these robot dogs? Or just literally mention anything going on in the world. And, they are probably the most knowledgeable person that they know. But it blows my mind how uninformed most people are. And you know what? If you listen to the show, you are better informed than so many nines, just 99.99, so many nines. But you can share the show. That really helps us out. You can do it in any way you want. You can do it the normal way, putting it into a box and sending it off overseas to some place that, they are not as blessed as we are here in the U.S., and they need somebody to donate podcasts to them. That's one good way to do it. But, here's the other thing, folks. Lasers. Have you heard about these things? Yeah, of course you have. They're dangerous. They're running amok. They're in space. They're underground. They're everywhere. And they do not care. They do not care about how we feel about them. These lasers, they are, some people are saying like, oh, you can't blame the lasers. That's just how they are. That's just what they do. You wouldn't go into the ocean with a shark and blame the shark for biting you. Same reason you shouldn't get in the way of the laser. The laser's going to laser, that old story of the frog and the scorpion. But here's the thing. I have a feeling that these lasers are not necessarily the cold-hearted, unthinking, predatory things that the media makes them out to be. Maybe lasers, maybe there's something in there. Maybe there's a soul. Maybe there's a brain. Who knows? I don't know. But there's only one way to find out, folks. We're gonna go deep into laser territory. That's right. We're bringing it to them. And that's it. Share the show with lasers. Share the show with lasers, people.
I was waiting for where this is going.
Yeah,
just
gone are the days. Gone are the days of the 15-minute extemporaneous ramble about sharing the show. I'm trying to keep it under 5. And yeah, just share the show with lasers, folks. I don't need to convince you anymore. We call it rattling cages. But if you need any more instructions, here's what you do. You just walk right up to him, you grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Gons, you got any last words?
I think you're right that it is a great time to share the show because I had my brother-in-law, who's he's kind of just a normie. He texted me last week and said, I listened to your show. I was like, oh, really? Which episode? He's like, oh, the WorldCoin thing. And I was like, oh, yeah. Told him about how we've been tracking it for a while. And he's like, yeah. Things are getting so future-y.
Oh.
Yes, they are. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. Keep going
thing.
Forward, time and stuff.
Things are getting future-y.
People, so your normie friends and family, they're ready. They're ready to receive the show.
They're ready. And they're freaked out, folks. You forget, because you're here, you're listening to the show, you're into this stuff. Most people out there, they're freaked out by it. So they don't like it. They don't like seeing the robots, hearing about the robots. They don't like the lasers. They don't like it. It makes them very uncomfortable. And that's the reason they should listen to this show, because we get comfortable with the things that are coming. We have not been taken by surprise by some wild world event in quite some time. Okay? And that's because we do this 3 times a week. So share with your normie friends. They need it. They're terrified. They need you. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Bye!
At that time, you were without Christ. Aliens from Commonwealth of Israel, strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope without God in the world. At that time, you were without Christ. Aliens from Commonwealth of Israel, strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope without God in the world. But now in Christ middle wall between us.
Bye. I'm out of here. Bye.
Canary cried, I suppose.